Morning.
Can't wait to get the breakdown of pro days from yesterday.
I don't have a full breakdown. Go strangers here. The perfect strangers.
Inspirational start to your Thursday morning, courtesy of a random 80s sitcom. May or may not have had a connection with Imperfect Strangers. This is an interesting morning for me. I am looking at what looks like a tremendous setup. I think, Patrick, you figured it out. I like how you switched your shoulders there. You put it over the left shoulder today. The whiteboard, I'm a little bit surprised we don't have names and numbers written down and charted from yesterday's big-time pro days at Florida and LSU.
I don't believe the numbers from LSU, I will say. Three guys all just happened to run 4.38. And I don't know that any of them are 4.38 guys.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Controversy.
Already.
World of NFL draft preparation.
Like, you paint me as this guy that just fully buys into everything that I see, every number I see from a pro day. I don't. I know when to use them and when not to. But the fact that Ja'Marr Chase, Terrace Marshall, and Kerry Vincent all ran 4.38s within 5 minutes of each other, I'm skeptical.
Okay.
But they did. I watched all three of them, and they were fast. Like Ja'Marr Chase looked really fast. It was impressive. He's locked in as the first.
Isn't there an easy way to fix this? Like, why don't you have your stopwatch going? You could see him.
Well, the easy way to fix it is what they do every year and have a combine.
It is true. That is the way to do that.
This is for to start this.
I'm with him on that. That's a good point.
How about Bill Gunter says he's been up for hours and hours at this point. This is a rare occurrence, sir.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? What time did you get up, Bill?
I would say I for some reason woke up about 2 a.m. and I just couldn't go back to sleep. Just simply, I mean, it wasn't because the bed was uncomfortable. I just never could go back to sleep. I don't know. Maybe it's just MLB opening day. I don't know. Maybe the excitement of next week at this time. I'll be gearing up for the Masters. Maybe it's the excitement of the Final Four. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe a big baseball series this weekend. I have no clue. But just at 2 a.m., the wind did pick up about 2:30, and it was pretty windy outside. So I don't know. Maybe it's Easter weekend. I have zero clue. But there was no going back to sleep. So at 5 a.m., I got up and did eggs and bacon and a biscuit and some kind of like little corn fritters. And I got a hot take for you that involves hot sauce.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you ready for this one? I'm not a fan of the Old Bay hot sauce. I think I do need to try it with seafood. I think that might help it. But like I've tried it on chicken salad. I put it on some eggs this morning. Not what I'm looking for there in a hot sauce. I'm expecting a hot sauce, not Old Bay. If I want Old Bay, I'll just get Old Bay. And I feel like I'm getting more Old Bay than I am hot sauce on that one. Have you had it yet, Patrick? I feel like this was a big deal when it came out.
Yeah, I've had it. I'm not going to fight you on it though. I mean, it's good hot sauce.
Appreciate you not fighting me.
I don't put it on everything. I still prefer Tabasco. That's still my number one.
I was going to give it a try.
Tabasco and Sriracha is pretty much what I put on anything.
I'll go back to the regular hot sauce for pretty much everything else. I do want to try the Old Bay on like shrimp, maybe some oysters, something like that. I think that might be the direction that I need to go with that.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't put hot sauce on all that many things. It sounds like I've never put hot sauce on chicken salad. Shrimp, I've never used hot sauce for. It's mostly, eggs is definitely number one. Chicken, like grilled chicken, because it needs something. I don't even know what else. Like maybe if I'm eating jambalaya, I'll put hot sauce in it. But other than that, I'm not just like, I don't know. Do you use hot sauce for most meals?
Varies. It kind of it depends on the mood. I can get out there. We had Hot Sauce Ross bring us by some hot sauce one time.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law has gotten me some it's called Truff hot sauce, which is actually pretty good. It's a little bit sweeter, but I like that. I do go. I see a couple people have said Frank's. I've done that.
That's kind of like buffalo sauce, though. Right? I mean, that's like.
Frank's.
I had buffalo chicken dip this morning, so I just.
Okay.
Yeah, but I make buffalo chicken dip with Frank's.
I think I was just at the store a couple weeks ago and I saw the Old Bay hot sauce and I was like, hey, we talked about it. I like Old Bay. I like hot sauce. I'll go for this. And you're right. I put it on chicken salad because I'll do some chicken salad and either some Tostitos or chicken salad and crackers occasionally. I like to put.
I put actual Old Bay on my tuna, mac and cheese, fries, things like that.
Okay. Yeah. So that was one hot take I had from this morning. I do want to ask you guys a question. I told Tim he can run with it or he doesn't have to.
Oh, see, okay. I thought when you said we had something that you
totally.
I thought you said that.
Yeah, I'll run with. Look,
I thought the Old Bay one was it, and you thought that I was just gonna explode because you said that you got the Old Bay hot sauce.
I know I've got that one. That was that one. We can run with that one as well. The hot sauce because that's drawing some strong and some interesting replies. So you got that one, and then Donna again. I've been awake for right now roughly 4 hours and 11 minutes. So I've had plenty go through my mind in the last 4 hours and 11 minutes. But for some reason, in the middle of the night, I got on an MLB opening day kick, and it got me thinking about my favorite trophies. And with everything going on, I know I see your Tim's face like this, but just if you could get one trophy, don't ask why. Somehow in the middle of the night, again, I was thinking about MLB opening day. My mind shifted to Tom Brady throwing the Lombardi trophy to Gronk during the celebration. I was like, what if it went in the water? I was like, well, Tom Brady could probably just buy another Lombardi trophy, right? Like he probably could just buy one for Tampa Bay, don't you think? You guys agree with that? I mean, is that a reasonable you just?
Sure.
So if you could get one trophy, and you can take this one of two ways, you can just either go straight trophy, but if you could own one championship trophy, and I mean, think about it, you've got this weekend, you got men's and women's Final Four. Next week, you got Masters, so you can throw in a Masters green jacket. You can throw in the World Series trophy. You can throw in the Lombardi trophy. I've got another one that I was thinking is going to be on my list of trophies. But if you could have one to display in your man cave, not that you won, but you could get one, kind of like I think we've talked about things to collect. I see Tim. Tim, would you not want to get a trophy to display in the man cave?
Not that I didn't earn. Hey, here's a World Series trophy that I remember and I bought it on eBay.
I mean, I got to thinking about this. Would that not be a cool thing to have, like a real one, not a replica? Because you can't really buy these things. I mean, no organization I think is selling them. They're not like rings for the Super Bowl or bowl rings. But I started thinking about that. Like, if you could get a trophy to display, and on the live stream, both Timothy and Chris have already said one that I had in my top three, the Stanley Cup. Now I'd have to get back in a year. I'd have to.
But I thought that you were starting that by saying essentially I thought you were just going to ask what is the best trophy.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of where I was going.
The Stanley Cup, but then you brought it to what you want to have in your house. And we've had this conversation with rings too, like the coolest memorabilia you could buy. And you said you would buy a ring. And I was like, I would not want to have a ring that was just a different person's ring or a trophy that I wasn't on the team for. Like I have the banners that has, like Washington Redskins 3-time Super Bowl champions and has pictures of the trophies and things like that, or the pennants. Like that's cool, but just have the trophy.
Yeah, I think, and I wonder if people are with me or y'all on this about not having a trophy. Like I think that would be a cool thing to have. And I was thinking of the Major League Baseball trophy is where I started with this, because just for some reason I think because of it was on some sports cards when I was growing up and I collected sports cards. But the Major League Baseball trophy, and then there's the great scene in Seinfeld where Costanza's just riding around the parking lot dragging one of the trophies, and
Just
The
Piece of
World
metal.
Series trophy
just
is
dragging
easily
it.
recognizable.
I mean, for a
Piece of
sudden,
metal.
and I don't ask why, but are you guys? So you guys are not with me on this. Y'all would not want
Nah.
not like on your man cave, like Patrick. As you get older, I'm assuming you've at least got an idea of having a man cave one day, maybe with
I
some.
know exactly what my man cave is going to look like. I have a picture of it in my phone. You want me to show you?
Oh,
I'll show you
please,
on the break.
please show us. And
It's
please let it be 20 whiteboards just surrounding it.
no, not quite, but it's
No,
just a lot of
he's
TVs.
already talked to Muschamp about how to build one of those rooms where you can just
Yeah.
write on the walls like Muschamp did, but you can just write plays all over the wall.
No, it's essentially 85-inch TV in the middle with like 4 50-inchers on either side of it. So the one big one, so on Sunday and Saturday, I can have the Washington game or the South Carolina game, and then 4 other TVs to put on all the rest of the games.
What you
on the
know
side.
in your man cave, and I kind of got thinking about this because it is Major League Baseball opening day. It's the one day where I go out of my way to really watch Major League Baseball. Starts at 1:00 today on ESPN. I will watch a lot of Major League Baseball today, and then tomorrow I'll forget it existed. But the bottom line is I started thinking about that trophy. I got into the Gronk and Brady thing. I started thinking about the Stanley Cup. I thought about if you had a green Masters jacket that was framed. I'm with Daniel on the live stream. It would be a conversation starter. I think it would be a cool thing to have as for lack of a better term, a decoration in your man cave. If you just had a actual trophy. Tim, you don't agree with me. Patrick, do you not have any memorabilia or anything that you want besides just large TVs that you want to decorate the man cave with? Not a Capitals jersey or
No, I mean I would definitely have framed like pictures and jerseys. That would be cool. But as far as a conversation starter, like first of all, if you had the money to just buy the trophy, you probably don't need to start conversations. You probably have way too much money and people will talk to you about anything. Or they just won't believe you. They're like, you either stole this or you're lying because why would you have this trophy?
So, Patrick, just to break down that hot take, if you have a lot of money, you don't need conversation starters.
You have probably a lot more cool things to talk about. I'd be like, yeah, I was in X place yesterday on my private jet.
That would be all your
Well, I'm out of stuff for the next 2 hours. You guys just lead the way here. I'll just be here for other.
Well, it just doesn't make sense.
Hot sauce and trophies is what I'm.
Oh, we've had this conversation before though, and I think Tim and I both said the same thing about having rings. I was like, yeah, it's not yours. You weren't on the team, so no, I wouldn't want to have it.
It's a little different. What is Craig talking about? Do you guys know on the live stream the Masters Trophy? Is there a Masters Trophy?
I think there is. I think it's the house, like the clubhouse. Actually, I'll look that up.
Really? Isn't that the cat? It's not the cabin. I know they do the ceremony in the cabin, but I just know the green jacket. I guess maybe you hold something up.
Of all the things that comes up initially, now I know exactly what this is. The golf championship belt trophy, where I guess if you and 4 or 8 or 12 buddies want to get together for your whoever wins the weekend round gets the championship belt. Because I think somebody said on the text message line, Brian says nothing says I need attention more than a replica wrestling belt. I agree with you. That's another trophy. Would you want to somehow acquire the WWE heavyweight championship?
Buddy B goes, O.J. Simpson's Heisman. That's what he would like to have at his house.
Other people's trophies is not something I want in my room. I'd be down to have like a helmet wall. A helmet wall would be cool.
Okay. All right.
That would be probably one of the first things that I would want.
I'm laying there.
Sounds like Lee is a Baltimore Ravens fan. He says, I think if you get a replica of the Ravens Super Bowl trophy signed by all the players, that would be the ultimate. And another texter anonymously just wanted to point out that Brady didn't throw the Super Bowl trophy to Gronk. I don't know who caught that thing. I mean, you could at least tell us who caught it if you're telling me Gronk didn't catch it. I wasn't sure. Patrick, are you got an identity on the catcher of the Super Bowl trophy when Brady threw it over the water there?
No.
You got to wear jerseys to help us out on that one. Others of you excited about opening day for sure, Chris, especially. Go Braves. No Bill breaking down the upcoming season, sponsored by Old Bay. Come on, man. A lot of you out there. Jim is in Carolina Beach, and he's a Clemson fan. He is very bought into the idea of a national championship football trophy being his April Fool's joke for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, that was another thing. I think the national championship college football trophy is ugly. That's another one. Let's go. It's time to go back to the crystal ball.
Oh, agreed. And the Super Bowl trophy is not cool looking either.
I'm with
the Lombardi
you.
trophy is not a cool trophy.
Yeah, that was another part. Don't ask again, Tim. This all started because as we started the live stream, I sent Tim an email at like 5:30, and he goes, "Oh, you were up early." I was like, "No, that email came 3.5 hours after I was awake, buddy." I was well awake by the time the email got to you.
This morning's first segment brought to you by Insomnia.
It's awesome, though, being awake at like 3, 4 a.m. when no one's up, just very serene, quiet. Yeah, I love it.
It's not.
It is awesome. Maybe if you're 25 and you can sleep the rest of the day, you got stuff to do. You got kids to be responsible for. Then you're just
gonna put a hat on.
No one should appreciate full quiet time more than you then. Like when I'm driving home at 3 and the roads are empty. What?
I'm with you. If it's the end of your day, I'm with you. Yeah. But if it's the start of the day and you
right in the middle of my day
that way,
I wanted to go back to sleep. This wasn't a decision that I had. Like I said, I just couldn't. Fired up. Blue Jays and Yankees, 105 ESPN, first game of the day. You got the Braves. You got a great matchup tonight, although your Nationals are starting off on a hot note there with several guys already testing positive. I saw there's going to have to be lineup changes. You guys see this contract for Francisco? I'm going to throw stuff at you all morning because I've just been watching ESPN and reading for like the last hour and a half. The Francisco Lindor contract, third highest contract ever in Major League Baseball.
What is it, 10 years? How much? 340? Is that right? 10 years, $40 million for the Mets shortstop. Those usually work out well, don't they, for an organization? I think that's what Major League Baseball has proven.
Like $341 million, Tim.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah.
Chris says Patrick's right. I love being up early and it being quiet in the house. All right, Patrick, you got some support there. LeVar just wanted to let us know. Morning, guys. In the summer of '99, I worked in Myrtle Beach. The Hardy Boys walked in with the real WCW tag championship belts. Now that is fantastic. You got the real one. You just happened to walk into the place you're out.
I hope you got a picture with the belt or the guys, but the guys and the belt. That's what I hope there's a picture of that you've got in your collection somewhere.
Oh, that a boy. Our anonymous texter's back. He says it's Cameron Brate who caught the Super Bowl trophy there. And then we had somebody attempt to send us, I think, the Masters trophy picture. And yeah, I am seeing it. It is the clubhouse replica thing. No, I despise that thing. It looks like a little model. Like a model house, like a little doll house. That's what I'm seeing right there, the Tiger holding up. Doesn't look good at all. Masters trophy. Interesting topic to begin today. I'm interested in getting you guys' take on some Gamecock football reaction we heard yesterday. Defensive players, especially newcomers, guys who transferred in, speaking at length yesterday. In my mind, one of them stole the show with what he had to say. But let's see what you guys think about it. We got another transfer to talk about on the way out for Gamecock men's basketball. TJ Moss adding his name to the transfer portal along with Trey Hannibal and Jalen McCrary. So we've got that to get to this morning, as well as Major League Baseball opening day. You can listen to the Braves first game over on our sister station, ESPN 1320 AM. We're going to have the Braves baseball all year long. Some of that will be on 107.5 The Game when it's not conflicting with other programming, and probably a little bit more once the Gamecock baseball season dies down. So we've got that to look forward to, as well as your thoughts this morning. 803-6100 is the number.
Keep sending in the best hot sauce because I like some of it. Like, what is the go-to hot sauce? Because I was looking, Gene's already said Texas Pete. Don't care about Jim in Carolina Beach. That wasn't funny. But I've seen some of these come in, and it's Patrick, what is the go-to hot sauce for you? Did you have a go-to hot sauce?
Tabasco.
Okay. Yep. Ryan said Tabasco, Chipotle. Yes, I am looking
for Louisiana hot sauce. I think from Craig this morning. Chris was in on the Franks. did this on the halftime show recently. I didn't realize there were so many hot sauces out there. I'm not a big hot sauce guy, obviously, connoisseur. Some people, like I got a brother-in-law, on everything pretty much. Feel like he has everything, and Beverly just threw you off there. Phil,
Yeah.
I hope there was a spell check era there. Like, oh.
Crystal hot sauce from Timothy. We'll see how random Bill can be this entire show after having a little bit of insomnia last night. Patrick, are you going to fill up the whiteboard today? Are you going to continue to leave it blank? I need to know more about yesterday's pro day. I'm a little. Is this because you don't believe LSU Times that you have left? You started us with a blank.
Partly, but also Kyle Pitts has already run, so his 40 was freakish. And yeah, it just wasn't that eventful of a day. I was just interested to see what the Ja'Marr Chase time would be. I would be more interested if it was like a bad time, because that would make the draft interesting. If he ran like in the mid 4.5s or something like that, I'd say, oh, okay, Devontae Smith might be back in play for wide receiver 1. But Kyle Pitts, guaranteed top 5, well, outside of quarterbacks maybe, and then Ja'Marr Chase, guaranteed. Kyle Pitts, Ja'Marr Chase, Penei Sewell just locked in their spots as the top 3 non-quarterbacks in the draft.
Wow, what a interesting flurry of text then on the Heating Air text line. Trey, Will, and Rich, I believe. Trey and Will at the exact same time going with Cholula hot sauce. It was Rich going with Tabasco, the only way to go. And Papa Joe with Will and Trey. All 6:25 this morning on Cholula hot sauce bandwagon there. And Papa Joe also had sleep. Patrick doesn't have kids.
Wake up at 2 a.m. We've got more interaction in the first 27 minutes of the show off of hot sauce and trophies than we do usually in the very first segment.
Welcome to April Fool's Day.
That's true. I dislike this day. Everybody finds it so funny. Jim in Carolina Beach or wherever, I'm sure he's going to have a blast with it all day long. I can already tell.
So Bill's in a great mood.
He's that guy at the office. Because he's going to walk in all day long and have Carolina jokes for all his coworkers or friends.
Somebody needs to have some jokes. It needs to brighten up Patrick's mood over there too. He's just waving the pointer back and forth ominously now in front of his whiteboard.
That enough.
I'm trying to think of something to write on here.
It's day 3 of the whiteboard and you're stuck. You got nothing. Day 3.
Well, I want it to always be topical. Like, this isn't just a draft thing. This is going to carry on for the life of the live stream, and we'll always have something topical to put on it.
Yeah, overthinking it, dude.
Ooh.
He's excited. We'll continue to discuss it in the live video stream break as we take our break here on radio. Again, 803-404-6100. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Setting records this morning with the interaction. Appreciate everybody weighing in that first segment. I'll tell you who else is setting records right now. The mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder. That's right. Helping families save $200, $300, $400 a month with their monthly mortgage payment, whether you want to refinance your existing payment, whether you want to buy a new home. Now is the time to do it. You don't want to miss a golden opportunity. Jacob Crowder, Brian Kovar with First Palmetto Bank. Brian was telling me the other day, he's trying to use a Hoosiers reference. He doesn't want you to get caught watching the paint dry. Very fired up about that statement. Don't get caught watching the paint dry, which means don't miss the golden opportunity. Interest rates are low. Jacob and Brian are here to help you. The number to get in touch, 803-719-1005. You can email him the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com is the way to do that. That phone number again, 803-719-1005. Again, the email, the letter J, then Crowder, CROWDER at firstpalmetto.com. They want to work with you. They want to help you. Give them the opportunity. Give them a phone call today. He's Jacob Crowder, Brian Kovar with First Palmetto Bank, 803-719-1005. Beverly, what is wrong with you? Is that even a hot sauce, or you just coming up with something? I gotta put a hat on.
Yeah, that hair's out of control, man.
And good morning. Yes, good morning. Well, I did hold out on coffee until the start of the show. I didn't want to start drinking coffee at 3 a.m. because I knew that would go downhill. Actually, I didn't realize until this morning the Utah Jazz are leading the West.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yeah, apparently they are. Played without Donovan Mitchell last night.
I'm reading this Tiger Woods story.
What story?
I don't know what they're doing. The LA County Sheriff say they have determined what caused Tiger Woods to crash.
But they won't release it?
No, because of privacy concerns. I mean, why don't you just say, hey, you guys just speculate on whatever you want it to be. We're not going to tell you.
Well, the black box result said that there was no breaking, which everyone just assumes means he fell asleep. But they just won't say it.
What black box result?
There was apparently like they have in planes, they have black boxes in cars now.
Just basically the computer info. You can tell whether you press the brakes on a computer.
Yeah, apparently. I didn't know that either, but I mean, it was a nice car that he was driving, so it's got all bells and whistles, I'm sure.
Genesis SUV.
Yep. I've just been Google image scrolling through man caves now, Bill.
All right.
Yeah. I want one of those. You guys seen the TVs that's like 20 different screens and you can make them all the same thing or you can break them up? Yeah, that would be probably the coolest thing to have.
I do wonder how much that would cost.
It has to be like at least like $20,000, right?
I really don't know. I mean,
I guess you can have a different size, but I've seen ones that are like probably 6 or 7, like probably like 20 to 30 60-inch TVs.
How much did you say?
Said like $20,000.
I would think if you got what?
Because some of these walls have like 20 plus 50, 60-inch TVs.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking if you're at your house, like if you had, the wiring. But what is it? What could you buy a 50-inch television for these days? You can buy it for about $500, right?
You can buy a cheap one for $500. Yeah.
So if you bought
$300 probably.
If you bought 9 of those.
Yeah, if you were trying to make it as cheap as possible, but the ones that are like all come together. The first time I ever saw one of those was at the ESPN Zone in DC. ESPN, you guys ever go to ESPN Zone? They don't exist anymore, but
I went to one in Vegas when I was in high school. We were out there.
That was the best place in the world.
You remember the kid that committed to Penn State? He was from Maryland and went to the ESPN Zone like in DC or something. He was an offensive lineman. He did his commitment from there, and like a bunch of – I remember he did it on ESPN.
No, I don't remember that.
He was a big-time offensive lineman. He got booed on ESPN because they were like, why would you do it like there?
Let's head back in.
And do you have any audio?
Yeah, I guess the one.
Loganell. Antonio Loganell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. You have to look that up real quick?
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Cuts 1 through 6 are ready.
All right, whatever you want to play, let's do one.
Live channel.
Coach was just giving on the drill. My coach was just giving a couple of nicknames as we were hitting. I had ran straight through some. You just said, and it's been stuck ever since. I'm 18 now, and I still got the name. So.
Debo Williams, new Gamecock linebacker from the state of Delaware, buddies with Marshawn Lloyd, and an entertaining dude to hear from yesterday. Several Gamecock transfers and defensive players talking yesterday. And in my opinion, Debo Williams, the most informative / entertaining. Just the idea of 5- and 6-year-olds doing the Oklahoma drill, first of all, and then coaches going crazy like that. The honesty of what he had to say about the aggressiveness from the linebacker position, all of that stuff combined was an interesting listen to Debo Williams, and he might be one of the more interesting ones. I mean, there are a bunch of interesting guys coming in this year from the Gamecock football perspective. You got on the offensive side of the ball, Marion Brown from Georgia Tech, who broke Calvin Johnson's freshman touchdown record at Georgia Tech as a receiver. And what that program has been from a receiver standpoint they've kind of been not even existent in the Paul Johnson era the last 15 years or so since Calvin Johnson, I feel like. Then you got on the defensive side of the ball, Debo Williams coming down from the state of Delaware, where he says he and Marshawn Lloyd are kind of the only guys to get out of there and play some SEC football. And the fact that he got the opportunity, he's pumped about. Jordan Strawn there, the nation's leader in sacks last year at Georgia State, speaking yesterday as well, talking about everything he's been through. Started as a walk-on at Georgia State as a safety, put on a bunch of weight. And one of the reasons why he's out South Carolina is the nutrition program. Said he and Kristen Coggins told her they're going to be best friends because one of the reasons he came to South Carolina is to put on weight, and he's already put on about 25 pounds, he said. So a lot of interesting stuff coming out of Gamecock football yesterday. Bill, anything specific at your eye or ear?
No. I mean, it's fun to hear the kids talk. I think there is still. I'm more interested in hearing the coaches talk because I know the kids aren't, especially the returners, are not going to badmouth the new staff. Jabari Ellis talked yesterday, and was it Zach Pickens yesterday? And both of them, I think they kind of hinted around that, yeah, things are different, but they're not completely different. I think Jabari Ellis was kind of talking about, well, yeah, it's different in culture, but he also didn't want to throw the previous staff under the bus. You can kind of sense that. But I'm more interested in hearing the coaches. I'm more interested in hearing Marcus Satterfield and Clayton White. And right now, especially Satterfield, because he's such an unknown in terms of what they're going to try to do. I was very interested to hear him at the beginning of the week talk about the quarterbacks and just hear him talk about the offense in general. Look, that's great. Debo Williams definitely sounds like a young man that if South Carolina's winning and he's playing well, he's going to be very, very, very entertaining. But we know how it goes if you have that kind of confidence and you're not playing well and you're losing football games. Fans and people don't like to hear that. So you just got to go and back it up. And I hope he does because he did sound like a personality that we would want to hear from a lot. But show it to me on the field, young man. And let's see what he's got. That's certainly a linebacking group that has spots that are open and needs guys to play with confidence and as Will Muschamp would say, willing to stick your face in the fan.
Well, to me, it's not just a case of a newcomer coming in and a guy doing the talk when he backs it up with, I'm used to getting up and working out at 4:30 in the morning. At least he is buying that. He is backing that up with some action real quick. And the fact that Shane Beamer and company trust these guys enough to put them at the podium and let them speak publicly is a dramatic shift from what we've seen in the past. And I think from a Gamecock fan perspective, very welcome just to get any kind of sense of who these guys are that you want to pull for and get behind.
So when we were talking about the culture, though, and I think one of the things was Muschamp creating a culture of guys worried about going to the NFL and all that stuff and not necessarily winning games. I had a great time listening to Debo talk. I thought he was awesome, but him and Strawn both basically, my biggest takeaway was they know what they need to do to get the NFL. Debo said, well, they said, what kind of convincing did they need to do to get you to South Carolina? He's like, oh, it was so convincing. Just think, what if I play really well at Delaware versus really well at South Carolina? What does that mean? First round pick versus maybe undrafted. So it was all about me. I had to do something for myself. And Strawn was basically like, yeah, I need to get bigger so that I can play defensive end in the NFL. So, I mean, I don't – and then we talk about Jabari Ellis and Zach Pickett's not wanting to throw the other staff under the bus. I think they just didn't dislike the other staff at all. They liked Muschamp, and they all have that same goal. So I just think we need to be a little careful when we say all Muschamp players cared about was go to the NFL, and all Beaver players care about is putting on the garnet and black and playing for the University of South Carolina, because everybody wants to go to the NFL.
No doubt. It's completely oversimplified if you put it in black and white that way. I think what will be very interesting to see is what we see on the field, is how much effort we get play in and play out, how the team responds to adversity, and then what kind of messages we're hearing in some of those times. Or the more interesting part will be what we see with our own eyes, because what we saw with our own eyes last year is that guys didn't play for each other by and large, and there was a lot of bending and breaking, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which was very surprising from what I think you thought you would have seen from Will Muschamp's program, and what a defensive coach kind of hoped to develop through the years. And it seemed to end up being the opposite.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I love the energy and the excitement that the players have, and even the confidence that some of them are putting forth. What I'm just trying to say with that is that I feel like we've seen and heard that before. Again, the coaches, the players, I like the energy and the excitement that you're getting, but I also I don't expect them to be down on the program right now, or very negative, or having to answer tough questions about what happened here or what happened there, or what happened on this play, or so forth and so on. I felt that this was going to be 9 months of just nothing but positive vibes from both the staff and the players. Now, what happens when there's a little bit of adversity? So it was cool still hearing their energy yesterday. I like Jabari Ellis talking a little bit about things that are happening in the program, or the way he sees them versus what was going on, and again trying to maybe tiptoe around throwing Muschamp and staff under the bus, but also talking about the vibe he gets from this new staff. I like hearing Debo Williams, and certainly the confidence, and you hope he comes in and is the linebacker he's projecting himself to be. But I think all of it, or me at least, and I would assume Patrick's in this boat with me, because we've been saying it for 2 years, we're all a little scarred. We're all a little tentative to completely buy in on some of this stuff after what you heard from Muschamp for 2 years on just expectations and offense and players and so forth and so on. You got to be a little hesitant when you do stuff like that. You can love the energy, but you also got to be like, okay, probably should hold back just a tad till I see like an actual tackle.
I understand where you're coming from on that. Eddie sees it a little differently. He says, can Bill enjoy anything when he's had no sleep?
No.
That's a question.
No, okay.
We'll talk about another Gamecock men's basketball player, TJ Moss, joining a couple of teammates in the transfer portal. When we come back, let you hear more from these Gamecock football players. Patrick will continue. Are you eating your pointer now over there? What's going on?
No, just hovering it above, in between my upper lip and nose.
You got to be.
You were that kid in class, weren't you? That always had a pencil or something that was just fidgeting with. That's what
If
it
you're-
was.
Yeah.
If you're awake for that longer one, you got to have like a catchy slogan at least to open the show on the whiteboard behind you, like something to start the day with. For
Anyone wants me to make a list of something,
right,
We need a list for Patrick.
I'll do it.
haiku or something. You got to have something on the board when we open the show.
Haiku. Wow, I didn't see that one coming. Well done, Bill. Bill Gunn.
4.5
The
hours
creative
in a
juices
day,
are flowing.
buddy. The English is much better when I've been awake for 4 hours.
Pretty sure haiku is not an English word.
What's a haiku like? 373? Is that
Yeah.
No
About
idea.
the syllables, it's like one line, second line,
I
third line.
was going to put my money on Jen being able to tell us exactly what that was, being the daughter of an English teacher. Then on the haiku, huh?
I know it's a non-rhyming poem
Patterns,
that's
yeah.
very short and it's 3 lines, and one line is like three or four syllables. The other one is like 6 or 7 syllables, and then the third one is the same as the first.
Bill, you looking it up or no?
Yeah, of course I'm looking it up.
I thought so. That was a looking up face. You got the
let's
syllables
see,
for us? You got a break? You got to come through.
Consists of
You got 5 seconds.
three phases or cutting words in a 5-7-5 pattern.
5, 7,
Here it
5.
is.
And a
575.
sequel reference.
Wow, that's beautiful. So we'll break down the 4-2-5 new defense for the Gamecocks as we do a 5-7-5. Give us a 5-7-5 haiku about the 4-2-5 defense, Patrick, and we'll be good to go. That's all we're looking for.
I'm thinking of one right now.
Right. Gamecock defense. Throw in Debo Williams, and we'll be good. It's the early game. It's 107.5 the game.
I am feeling actually pretty good on a Thursday morning. A lot to be excited about. The Final Four this weekend. You've got the Masters next week. You've got Major League Baseball opening day today. So many things just to be excited about and get you all fired up, including, of course, Love Chevrolet. Right now, they're very proud to announce that thanks to your incredible loyalty, Love Chevrolet has once again been presented with the Mark of Excellence Award for 2020. It just isn't any trophy that you put in the case. That's right. We were talking trophies earlier. This is one that you really take pride in, or they definitely do. It's the highest honor any Chevrolet dealer can receive, and it's only given out to a handful of dealerships in the entire country. The Mark of Excellence Award represents Love Chevrolet's commitment to providing you with the absolute best sales, service, and customer care, and like the largest selection to choose from, over 14 acres to be exact. You can get out to Love Chevrolet, and of course, don't forget about the financing options for all of life situations. Whether you buy there, you can pay there, all the way up to 0% financing for 72 months. You need to go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Love Chevrolet. I want to thank you for 60 amazing years and for making them South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Going to go most annoying day of the year.
Yes, I go with that. Were we talking about something prior to I came back in?
No, as a poll question. Can we do most annoying day of the year?
Yep, I'm with you on that. That's a good one.
Got any suggestions?
Obviously, April Fool's Day.
Right, I got that and Valentine's Day.
I would say that, and I don't think it'll win, but the day after New Year's, so January 2nd, because it's just you've gotten through all the holiday stuff. It's January. There's nothing really to look for. I mean, unless you got a birthday or I guess an anniversary in January.
Anything?
Patrick, you got a day? Maybe the day after the Super Bowl because you realize there's no football left.
Super Bowl Monday?
Super Bowl Monday.
Super Bowl Monday is Valentine's Day this year.
What?
Next year. But
No.
yeah, 2020. I think you're right. It's Valentine's was a Sunday this year. Yeah.
Wow. I thought Super Bowl is always the first Sunday of February.
Moved it
was.
this year. Yeah,
It was, and then they added another game.
exactly. Try and keep up, Tim. Try and keep up.
Try and keep up with how many months from now? 11 months from now?
That's right. Got to be planning ahead.
All right. So I got April Fool's Day, Valentine's Day, January 2nd, and Super Bowl Monday. You guys good with that?
It's good with me.
Yeah.
Now I just have to make sure I've got my apostrophes in the right spots. I already screwed up April Fool's Day.
Right, boy. Good job.
What apostrophe after the L?
It's after. Yeah, I put after the L. So Valentine looks like singular before the apostrophe. April Fool's Day is plural. Really word nerding it up right now for you haiku folks out there that were disappointed in us.
I have an AP style guide right here. I can let you know.
Good. I'm going with the internet.
Patrick, you need to come up with something creative for the whiteboard.
The internet doesn't know.
Otherwise, you have to start taking suggestions. Good grief. I tell you what, there's some.
Oh, worst text ever just came in. Don't even read it. Or don't even read it out loud on the live stream. Wow. Man, we just talked about haikus about a defensive alignment. I thought we balanced it out pretty well. But you hear what you want to hear.
Oh yeah, this guy sucks.
Are you going back and reading the other?
Yeah,
text?
are you? I don't under. I'm trying to figure out exactly who, like, what this person is.
Big Ohio State fan.
Is it Ohio? Is he an Ohio State fan? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, the last one did end with LOL. Yes, I'm just messing with you guys.
He did try back in July 4 times in a row to suggest the Washington Rambos as a new name for
Okay.
football team.
So it sounds like maybe a frustrated comedian here.
Well, it looks like he said it on our show, and I probably said it was the worst thing I've ever heard. And then he tried it on the afternoon show later, and then tried it twice on Heath's show.
Oh.
Did you go back and look at the last text from Heath's show like yesterday?
Oh no, another one?
No,
usually-
it wasn't bad. It was our guy who stopped texting us. I noticed because apparently we don't respond.
Yeah, but Heath just cannot.
Oh, he can't help himself. He literally cannot
can't stop
help himself. I went back and looked. It's like
You can read
he's
it.
clearly responding to him on air as well.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
About to come back in.
Holy,
He texted him back 3 times yesterday.
you got in a bunch here. We go number 3 here,
I got
Jim.
another great hot topic for the top of the hour break on the live stream.
This guy's on fire this morning. Just
Yeah.
most activity we see from Bill in hour number 1 combined.
I want to put the fear in you as a running back. I don't want you to run the ball. Tell your coach to pass it because you don't want to run no more because you don't want Debo hitting you. And it's just a fear factor. If you somebody like a Mike Tyson when he's fighting, he already won because you fear him.
Debo Williams, new Gamecock linebacker, state of Delaware. I like the historical perspective he gives of Mike Tyson. How about that? Kids these days know Mike Tyson. I'm impressed. I guess it helps maybe that he's on those new commercials there for what is it, Mike's Hard Lemonade. That might help.
And
Imagine if that's
a Logan Paul fight or Jake Paul fight. That's what people know. Kids know Mike Tyson now.
I'm sorry, who was
Yeah,
that?
who won that Roy Williams Mike Tyson fight? How'd that turn out months ago?
Roy Williams.
Roy Jones, I'm
Did they
sorry.
have it?
I think they tied.
Roy
Yeah,
Jones Jr.?
that was the same fight that the Paul brother knocked out Nate Robinson, and everyone forgot.
Gotcha.
Everyone forgot about the Tyson part of it. That's how the kids know Tyson now, though. And the
Yeah,
Hangover.
can you imagine? I would hate for someone to be introduced to Mike Tyson by Mike's Hard Lemonade commercials, or maybe the Hangover. Right, that would be.
He's the guy with the tiger in the Hangover, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Bill, quickly your thoughts. TJ Moss transfer portal, Gamecock men's basketball. He's number 3, joining Jalen McCrary and Trey Hannibal. Do you expect more?
Yes. I mean, it depends. I guess we still expect AJ Lawson. When you say more attrition, I don't think AJ Lawson enters the transfer portal. I don't think. Although, I'll bring this up now. If we talk about AJ Lawson, maybe he sees what his buddy Andrew Nebhard, is it Nebhard for Gonzaga, is doing, transferring from Florida. Maybe he enters it to go find a better program, but that would be another that you certainly could count on.
That's an interesting smirk you gave him, Patrick.
Is it? What's his? How do you say?
Nemhard?
Nebhard. Is it Nebhard?
Oh boy, more names and pronunciations coming up in hour number 2.
This is Todd Ellison. You're listening to the Home of the Gamecocks, 107.5.
Well, it made me think, because you saw yesterday, Florida had 5 guys enter the portal. And then I couldn't remember if his name is it Neim or Neib? For some reason I thought he had a B.
It's
Nemb.
Nemb. Nemhard.
Okay. Nebhard. Yeah. I was, for some reason I was thinking it was Neib. So I'm wrong. But he's Canadian. He was friends with Lawson, or is friends with Lawson, I guess.
Yeah.
So is it okay? Like, I bought the Boston Red Sox hat because I like the gray and the green, and I'm not a huge Red Sox fan, but I need a
What are you
blue hat.
talking about? You're a Yankees fan. You're not. You're more than just not a huge Red Sox fan.
Exactly. So is it okay to buy a hat because you like the colors? Because I think I
No.
want to. Huh?
No.
So I can't buy a Dodgers hat?
How many times have we said that the hat you're wearing right now is completely unacceptable?
But it's a good looking hat.
Yeah, so you're asking clearly the wrong people. The
Like,
answer is no.
It's at this side. It's got the little, I like that.
You can find a green Yankees hat. I can find one.
Yeah, but I like the Boston one. This one, I really like this one. I saw it in Savannah. A guy was wearing it last year. I decided I wanted to buy one. Yeah, I'm with Chris on this. I think it's okay. I am going to buy a Yankees hat, but I think I want a blue Dodgers hat, like just a plain, get a good Dodge. It's simple. It's easy. It goes with a lot of outfits I wear.
There you go.
Yep, that's true. It's true. Is that not okay?
You are one guy or the other guy. Clearly, Patrick and I are the other guy.
I mean, you can just say that you completely don't have a team.
Yeah, but that's fair. I mean, I'm a Yankees fan because I went to more games there than anywhere else. But you're right. I don't live and die with the Yankees.
I mean, I don't even think you can be a fan and wear a Red Sox hat.
You just don't call yourself a fan.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
well, I bought it when they had Jackie Bradley Jr. Does that count?
No.
I bought it in favor of Jackie Bradley Jr.
Like I would wear like soccer teams or something like that, like a shirt or a hat, because I don't have a team. Like I don't really care. I just will buy them because they're cool. But once you announce that you do have a team, even if you're not gung ho or die hard about it, if you have a team, like you're a fan of a team, you can't.
I have to
wear it.
renounce being just because I'm not gung ho or die hard of the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also not like like a team that isn't your favorite team. Like if I wore a Ravens hat, it's actually like one of the most iconic and hated and fierce rivalries in all of sports.
Right.
So I mean,
What? The Ravens and the Washington football
Yeah, I was
team?
going to say, wait, who?
no. What I'm saying is,
Red Sox team.
I'm saying if I was wearing a Ravens hat, like I'm not a Ravens fan, but it's not like the hated rival, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Bill is wearing the hat of one of the most hated rivals and most iconic rivalries in all of sports.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
So if you were a Dodgers hat, wouldn't be as bad, even though the Yankees Dodgers is still a thing because it's the New York LA deal. If you wore like a Seattle Mariners hat, no one would really care because nobody cares about the Seattle Mariners and there's no beef there or anything like that. But it is your direct rival, and that's why it's a problem.
Yeah, Heath doesn't really have a Major League Baseball team, does he? He doesn't really.
The Rays, isn't it?
Does he count the Rays? Does he count the Rays? Because he gets a bunch of those like throwback baseball shirts. Have you seen it? He'll wear a bunch of those throwback kind of old school.
He's obscure baseball team guy.
Huh?
He's obscure baseball team guy, right?
Yeah.
Minor leaguers or wherever. Feel like you're one of three guys. You're either a fan, wear what hat looks good,
Yep.
or you're an obscure baseball team guy.
Yeah, I go with the middle one. I mean,
But I don't even think it's just the fan thing. I think it's when it's your rival, you can't do it.
Okay.
No, you didn't, Sonny. You didn't buy him another
Yeah, he says April.
whiteboard. Oh, I see what he did there.
See, that's why. Back to the poll question. Where's the poll question? I forgot. I retweeted it.
What's the most annoying holiday?
Halloween. I hate Halloween.
I like Halloween.
Interesting.
Valentine's
That's
Day.
a write-in vote for Halloween, a write-in vote on the text line for Black Friday.
Wow, Valentine's Day is well. You can tell we're mostly a guy's show. Valentine's Day is winning by 3%.
I
Apologies,
voted there.
Sonny.
Valentine's the only one on that list that I don't mind.
Really?
I like how I guess like Billy. Clearly, Billy is listening or watching on the live stream. How do you decide what you're going to do to like? How do you decide if you're going to text in or weigh in on the live stream?
Good point.
It means he's not subscribed on whatever platform he's watching.
Oh,
No, not necessarily.
It means he's watching on the YouTube, but he's not a subscriber.
I love. We were talking about trophies earlier. Do you see Billy's response? I myself have a cool trophy, and that would be my hot redheaded wife. Thank you.
Well done.
And then he just says, I just got inside from taking the wife to work, catching up with you guys on the YouTube
Oh, I
channel.
missed that one. The first one I saw from Billy was where he said he didn't care for hot sauce, but he was enjoying the conversation. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like a huge Yankees fan. Like I don't know who they're starting today.
You're going to call this, I think we got Amy Lawrence on right now.
Uh-oh.
Why?
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
you know, I thought about that, Travis. An Expos hat might be kind of cool. I've got to up the hat collection. It's time. I need to. My spring wardrobe needs a few more hats. I bought some new shirts. I bought some pink pants. So like they got palmetto trees on them. They're
Billy, you got to make a YouTube account. I was exactly right. He's watching on the YouTube, but not a subscriber, so he's texting in.
oh, he caught you, Billy.
Patrick.
We're going to block your number from the text line.
Oh, he caught you, Billy.
Harsh.
You can only chime in on the YouTube page.
Do we need to jump back in?
No. I'm not sure why it wasn't there, but okay. I'm sorry I subjected you guys to Amy Lawrence.
That kind of morning. I feel like if I can just survive till 1 o'clock when baseball starts.
Oh, Bill, I was reading about the Penn State kid. So this kid, Logan L,
Yeah.
got out of Florida hat initially, and then said nah, and then he pulled out a Maryland hat and started saying nice things about Maryland, and then dropped the Maryland hat on the floor and put on a Penn State hat.
Yeah, I just remember it because
15
ESPN.
minutes from University of Maryland's campus.
Yeah, I just remember it because it was late in the afternoon. It was one of ESPN's final announcements for the day, and so I happened to be watching it, and he did it, and the crowd just booed him because they all thought he was going to Maryland.
Yeah. There's got to be a video of it.
Yeah, it was on ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
Good job, Patrick. You shamed Billy into subscribing.
Good.
How about Patrick on the live stream here, going with the old school barnyard, but he's also goes by the co-pilot where he texted in, says he's in the hospital right now for the birth of number 3. His wife hasn't told him to turn off the show yet. How about that?
Oh,
Wow.
Yes. We like that. We lost a subscriber because yesterday we were at 665 at show end.
What did you
We're at
do?
664 now.
You chase somebody off?
I don't know.
It's a spam bot. It's a spam bot.
Could have been the guy that said we talked too much yesterday that I
Oh, Rodney's all in. He loves it.
That it could have been.
Or
Hey,
no,
pilot.
What happened to
throw
our
us-
guy did our guy get tired of texting us? Who was
We're going back in.
who was it? Ron from Lake Marion, who would text at 4 a.m. every morning because he was cooking liver pudding and grits or something. Did he just get tired? I guess he
Good
started
question.
sleeping late.
You know, hope he's okay.
I do too. Jen, am I done for the day?
I'll let you know. You guys rip.
That's our show prankster. She was at it again. Thought you were going to hear the national show here in hour number 2. Oh no, switched it up on you.
That's right.
Jen does have April Fool's Day with the smiley face and the glasses and Go Cubs Go. The combination. Is that a good sign for Major League Baseball? The year 2021 starts on April Fool's Day. I know it always starts around here. I do like the fact that we're not getting some weird featured game that is typically it's been in some remote location in years past where baseball tries to make it different than regular. Opening day should be opening day. Everybody should have it at the same time, and there should be a lot of day games on opening day, and that's what we have today. I'm glad they're getting it right this time. Is that an old man rant to start?
Have you ever been to an opening day, Patrick? Have you ever been to an opening day?
not the Nationals. I've been to Orioles opening day.
Pat,
Been
Tim?
to Texas Rangers opening day, I think.
Wow. Jen, you ever been to a Cubs or an opening day?
Cubs once. Mhm.
I gotta admit, I've never been to an opening day. I feel like that would be a pretty cool, like, baseball does a good job with opening day. Like, opening night in the NBA is what it is. NFL's a little bit different. Opening weekend of college football is phenomenal. I'll tell you when the Stanley Cup starts. But Major League Baseball opening day, it does feel like, especially because tomorrow's Good Friday, and probably a lot of people are already taking tomorrow off. It does feel like this is a day that you just are like going ahead and be like, well, I'm going to go ahead and make it a 4 or 5 day weekend. Just go ahead and call it off and sit around and watch baseball all day and hang out. It's supposed to be chilly today, so you can't really sit outside, but it does. You guys agree with me? Like, I'm not a huge I'm not Tommy Moody. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but this is a day where at 1 o'clock, I will like kind of go out of my way to watch a lot of baseball today.
You're a holiday guy. You like to
I'm a
join
holiday guy.
festivities and,
I am a
and
holiday
do
guy.
what everybody's doing with the fun stuff. What can we celebrate today? Certainly opening day is the day. But right now I'm a little bit surprised. It's leading our Sudafal Motive poll question on Twitter at TimHill1075 asking you what's the most annoying day of the year. April Fool's Day, up to 39% of the vote, beating out Valentine's Day, January 2nd, and Super Bowl Monday. We've had a write-in vote on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, 803-404-6100. By the way, you can call or text that same number. A write-in vote, I believe Billy hit us up with Black Friday was his write-in vote. And Bill, did you come up with one, or was that you, Patrick, that had a write-in vote for another day of the year?
I said I hate Halloween.
Halloween?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
how do you hate Halloween?
I don't like the costumes, and that's pretty much it.
All that work that goes into putting on some kind of costume. You've got all year to prepare. All you got to do is come up with one.
Now, Patrick is so
that's the
comfortable
point.
with
You only
himself.
get one. You have to make it perfect, and
No, you don't.
it's not.
After an hour, nobody at a party cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that care.
I mean, if you want to go to that Halloween party, where like they're really invested, there's a prize that like I got it. I understand what you're saying, but usually try to avoid that a tad. I try to hang out with people who take it semi-serious, but they're not going to go out of their way.
So I'm just looking at the Major League Baseball schedule. They're getting it right. It's all but 5 games. 1, 2, 3, just 4 games actually, night games tonight, including your Nationals and Mets on ESPN in the 7 o'clock game, Patrick. Then you got a couple of
It was
West.
going to be like 20 degrees at first pitch.
Woo. 42 right now and rainy in DC is the weather that I'm seeing. 3 West Coast games, but then you got the bulk of Major League Baseball doing it right, because on opening day it should be day games and everybody should do it at the same time. I like where we're at this morning, and the Braves will get going at 3:05 this afternoon against the Philadelphia Phillies. Max Fried on the hill after such a great season last year. Will be interesting to see how he backs that up with a full season slated. Interesting to see when Mike Soroka will get back for Atlanta, and the tremendous season they had, how they back that up with Freddie Freeman's MVP campaign, the whole thing. That's where I come from the Major League Baseball standpoint, kind of through that Braves lens. Jess hit us up at 5:45 this morning, says he's pumped about Yankees opening day, the fact that former Gamecock Jordan Montgomery slated to go fourth in their 5-man rotation, Garrett Cole on the hill for their opening day matchup this afternoon against the Toronto Blue Jays. They are the actual first game on ESPN at 1:05. Yankees at home against Toronto. The Braves, by the way, at the Phillies at 3:05. So that's opening day stuff. From the Gamecock perspective, it was TJ Moss kind of headlining the news yesterday. And Bill, I feel like in a way he's kind of representative of the last several years. It's been obviously this past year especially, it's been a struggle. But the fact that Gamecock basketball hasn't built on the momentum of the Final Four, been back to the NCAA tournament, very frustrating. Part of the Frank Martin discussion that we still are kind of looking for official resolution moving forward. TJ Moss joining Trey Hannibal, Jalen McCrary. Feel like he's different than those other two. Moss was always kind of, I feel like, fighting it and fighting to prove he could play at the SEC level. I feel like those other guys proved it in flashes, and it just never worked for TJ Moss, in my opinion. Why was that makes you giggle, or you?
I'm laughing at the image, the guy, your buddy on the live stream with the image of Patrick at 40 on Halloween, hosing down kids who come on this grass on Halloween trying to trick or treat. I'm laughing at that image.
That's pretty good.
I'm not trying to. TJ Moss is playing college athletics. He's getting a free scholarship. I don't want to come on our show because I know he's trying his hardest and rip the kid, but he struggled. And to be quite honest, and I think you guys agree with me, I thought Trey. Now I don't watch practice. We weren't at practice. I don't know the reason, but I felt like Trey Hannibal should have gotten more minutes than TJ Moss. Are you guys in agreement with that? Or you no? Yes.
Well, I think they both equally had their flaws. I think the game was a little bit too fast for TJ Moss at times, and I think Trey Hannibal was too fast for the games all of the time. So.
Okay, all right. I'm not trying to. I think people would agree. There's no need to come on here and say the kid stinks but at the same time, I thought he struggled. I thought he really struggled. He had some really, really, really bad turnovers. I think that's a lot of people that looked at it and wondered if he needed to transfer down a level. I think even in a scenario where everybody was happy with the basketball program, that's a guy that we would have looked at to transfer out. I hope the best for him. Look, as far as I know, he's been a great student athlete. He's represented the university well. It is what it is, but that's not a guy that I envisioned being able to continue to help the program. And he's not the first one. There's been other guys that have come through and not been able to help and transferred out and gone on to very good careers at other places. And I certainly hope the best for him, and Gamecock fans should as well. But this is not a guy that I like. I think Jalen McCrary could have helped South Carolina next year. I think Trey Hannibal could have helped South Carolina next year. I can't say that about TJ Moss. And quite honestly, I think Jacoby Wright could have come in and beaten him out as well. So when I saw that news yesterday, I didn't have the same reaction as like, that's a little bit of a blow as I thought Hannibal or McCrary was.
Have any of the transfers, any of the three, surprised you? And is there anyone that could transfer that would surprise you at this point? And furthermore, is there anyone that losing them would be absolutely devastating for the program?
I don't think you want to lose. Look, I'm not saying these guys are going to go on to be all conference post players. I do think the foundation of the post player, and this counts Jalen McCrary, who, again, you look at the last 3 games. I went back and looked at his numbers after you pointed it out, Patrick. The last 3 games he scored double digits. It looked like he was coming up. He wasn't consistent, and I think he needed to continue to develop. But I thought he had upside, and I don't know if they're bringing in somebody who's going to be better next year or in 3 years. I do like Wildens Levesque. I guess because I scouted, I always have a low expectation for big guys because I feel like the good ones, if you're halfway good, you just go straight to a blue blood program and you're in the program for 1 or 2 years and then you're off to the NBA. So I like the foundation of Frink and Levesque and McCrary. I like Minot. I think that he's got to get in a lot better shape, but I also understand he should have been in high school this year. But I thought fundamentally he's got some upside and can develop. So any of those guys, I think, hurt. But I think you asked a great question, and the answer is no. There's not a player that if the news popped out they transferred, I'd be like, oh, didn't see that one coming. Like I think it's up in the air with all of them. I don't know. I don't know of a guy that I
top
look
2
at.
guys, right? AJ Lawson announces he's not trying to play professional basketball. He's transferring. And Keyshawn Bryant announces he's transferring. Those are the 2 exceptions.
I wouldn't be shocked by that, Tim. I mean, AJ Lawson is not going to get drafted. Is he ready to go start a G League career or fight for somewhere else? Like, it would make more sense to me for him to transfer to another program than it would for him to go fight for an NBA spot. And I hate to say that about the young man. I think he's played well. I think that he potentially could get into the NBA one day, but he's not going to be drafted this year. He's going to have to follow the PJ Dozier route. And I'm not sure he's as advanced as PJ Dozier was at this point. Would you guys agree? And that's 3 years in. Like it to me, if he's trying to do it and he's unhappy, it actually makes more sense for him to transfer to a program, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see him as an overseas player.
Why transfer? What is that going
If
to
he's
get
unhappy,
him?
if he's unhappy, I'm not saying. I'm just saying if those are his 2 options, go fight for an NBA spot. And let's say the main option is he doesn't want to stay at South Carolina, and then that leaves him 2 options: transfer or go to the NBA. My advice to him would be if he doesn't want to stay, is to transfer.
Right.
Find another program.
All speculation, though.
Exactly.
I
All
just mentioned
speculation.
those 2 names
All speculation.
because you asked the question: Would anyone surprise you right now? Coming off a frustrating season for sure, I get why the question's out there. Just those 2 guys would be very surprising if that ended up happening. Somebody just hit us up. Cool Care Heating talking about the transfer portal, I believe. No, that was actually on Twitter. Michael hit us up and just mentioned that it's not a bad thing for guys moving out. It opens up spots for guys coming in, and it's just the transfer portal era of college basketball. No doubt about it. That's where we are. Taylor Widener. You guys see this? Former Gamecock Taylor Widener making the Arizona Diamondbacks starting pitching rotation. I guess Widener might have started a few games in his Gamecock career several years ago, but I think more of a bullpen guy. Also played a little third base, I believe, back in the day. Going to be their 4th starter, I think. We got Jordan Montgomery in the New York Yankees rotation. So good for the former Gamecock Taylor Widener. Jan pointing that out on the Facebook Live chat this morning. How about Taylor Widener making that starting rotation? Didn't I hear that right? I understand why you're asking the question. I went and made sure about that. But yeah, Taylor Widener making the Arizona Diamondbacks starting rotation. We got opening day where Patrick is salty. Patrick, the texter on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, he does admit it might be because the Braves have to wait for their first home game, and that's made him grumpy, he says. But he says Major League Baseball is doing it wrong. Opening weekend is usually the coldest of the year, so of course there are only 3 games in warm weather locations, and only 1 is a warm weather team hosting a cold weather one in the LA Angels hosting the Chicago White Sox. They really need to be smarter about this. Start the season off in warm weather cities as much as possible. It's a good point. But then I guess you would get a lot of grumbling in Major League Baseball if you did that every year about maybe it not be as fair and equal to all the teams there. But if you're doing it for ideal conditions, I understand where Patrick the texter is coming from. It looks like Patrick the grumpy co-host had a response to that.
Well, that's not necessarily always accurate. I mean, at least in Maryland, I remember multiple opening days, and that's kind of the day that I think, oh, this is when the weather turns. Like, this is now like the first beautiful day of the year, and it's kind of just a luck situation. But I mean, Orioles and Nationals opening day a couple times have been like beautiful, 60 degrees, just like absolutely perfect, not too hot, not too cold. You can be there in just a t-shirt and shorts. But I mean, I do get the point. Like tonight, the Nationals are playing at 7 o'clock, and it's gonna be below freezing at points during that game. So it's just kind of it's a hit or miss situation.
I'm just looking. The Yankees doesn't look like.
I'm gonna check the weather for New York.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. 50, about it's gonna be about 50 degrees at game time, and it may be rainy. It's calling for an 87% chance of precipitation today. It's not particularly. I was just kind of glancing. I was doing with what y'all were bringing up. I was just kind of glancing at cold weather.
It's kind of just unfortunately a particularly cold day today, like a lot of places.
Yeah. How about in Chicago? Jens Cubs hosting the Pirates, 28 degrees. In Detroit, the Tigers hosting the Indians, 28 degrees.
It's not always that way though. Like April 1st has a lot of times felt like the first warm day, and when spring really starts to turn.
Colorado Rockies, the second game up on ESPN today, hosting the Dodgers, 33 degrees. Cincinnati's 32 degrees, hosting the Cardinals. Yeah, that's a tough start. Hope this is not a sign of things to come on April Fool's opening day. We got the poll question up and rolling on Twitter at TimHill1075. What's the most annoying day of the year? April Fool's is leading the way over Valentine's Day. We got January 2nd and Super Bowl Monday as other options for you there. Feel free to write in your own one. We've got a write-in vote for Black Friday and Halloween to start. Some Gamecock football discussions as we roll on.
It's Halloween, but the Halloween write-in vote is from Big Carrot, right? That's who you're.
Yeah.
Okay, making sure there wasn't somebody else that was just a curmudgeon that doesn't like Halloween.
I'm with Patrick on that. I'd put a vote in for Halloween.
How do you dislike Halloween? You got kids. That's fun.
I don't like paying dentist bills for the kids. The keeping them under control on Halloween.
You know, you do take their candy, right? Like you limit. They're young enough. They don't have control, but you take control of the candy. Disperse. A lot of
more parenting advice coming from
a couple
Bill.
years ago. I think you brought us candy in the studio, and we were very appreciative.
Where do you think it came from?
You became the favorite. You became the favorite coworker that day when you brought in a bunch of candy.
I'm with Patrick though. It's the hype I think involved with the Halloween. The hype
guys on the Halloween thing. That's sad.
I don't like it as an adult. I liked it as a kid, I think.
I also
you need to ask
for your age, for your age, man. I don't know how you dislike Halloween. In my mid-20s, Halloween was a blast. There was parties. I mean,
and it should be fun.
It should be fun.
Like the gruesome
I mean,
stuff.
Halloween weekend was always a very big, like 3-4 day, depending on what day Halloween actually fell on. It's always a big
Sunday
weekend at 5 points, but
Sunday this year.
I still don't like it.
Neil, I love it. Boo hoo hoo. He starts his text. My kid started baseball practice the second week of February. If my 6-year-old can stay in the cold, I think some major leaguers and fans will be okay.
I hope there's a little bit of like lightheartedness in that text. It's not as just like it's just a hardo text.
I'm just gonna read it with the most harsh and bitter tone possible. This makes me feel better. Maybe some Gamecock football discussion will make you feel a little bit better. There's some interesting reaction coming out of there, and just to hear more from Gamecock football players, I think is welcomed by all around the program. We'll do that as we continue to roll on this morning. 803-404-6100 if you would like to weigh in. Here it's the early game. It's 107.5 the game. Does anybody understand the text about diamonds?
No. And that was their only text. So I just moved on from that one.
Ooh, where was that? That was second last. Diamonds, yeah. Is that a saying or?
No, I don't think that's a saying. I think that's his saying. And I agree. I do agree with Neil. We've had outside soccer practice since the end of January.
Nobody's.
We had soccer practice last night, and
No, in South Carolina, you can practice year-round outdoors.
I don't know, man. January and February. I mean, I realize it's not
cold, but
it's not
like,
the Northeast, but
yeah, I mean, we had to plow our field. Our field had to get plowed every day before lacrosse practice in New York. That's not the point of Neil's. The point of why it's a hard out text is just like people are just trying to figure out the optimal time to go watch a baseball game. You don't have to come in just being Mr. Tough Guy. And nobody's saying they can't play baseball. They're just saying it would be more ideal potentially if it was a little nicer out.
well, it's for the fans, right? Like baseball, because you sit there and you gotta. I mean, I think that's more the players are fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. But the point is, everyone prefers nice weather. It doesn't mean it can't be done. Nobody's saying that, but
I agree. All right, I've made it through an hour and a half with no problems. I feel like at some point though there could be a crash.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to wear out at some point.
thank you. I appreciate that.
He was trying to get on a different list this morning. You had the grievance board going yesterday. Now you got to get the suck up to Patrick board going.
All right, what do I like? Best holidays. Number one, Christmas. Number two, Thanksgiving. Yep, I have dyslexia, clearly. Number three, St. Pat's. Number four, Memorial Day.
Is that the one in the summer, at the end of the summer? Or is that the one? Is that Labor Day?
No, that's Memorial Day is in 2 months, May 31st.
Okay, so it's the spring one. I never know.
Which one?
It's like it's the unofficial start of summer.
Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Wait, are you listing your favorite days or your?
He's going favorite.
My favorite days of the year. Yeah.
See, I got to flip flop 1 and 2. Thanksgiving is definitely number one. Need a. What do you got there?
Christmas, Thanksgiving, St. Pat's, Memorial Day, July 4th.
Now, I think this is a byproduct of where you grew up, because I don't know how the weather was there, but here Labor Day is still warm enough. That's the opening weekend of college football, so you have that, and I count that as a weekend. And it's still warm enough to go on the boat or do stuff on the lake or have a cookout. Like it's Memorial Day, but with college football.
Well, I like Memorial Day because it's also the college lacrosse national championship weekend.
Indy 500, Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah.
So I like it because there's college football. You got another one because of lacrosse and Indy 500. Well, but yeah, Labor Day is up there. I would have Thanksgiving, Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, Labor Day, July 4th. Uh-oh. Did one just get put at the top above Christmas?
Yeah, Jason was right.
Draft day. That's a week. Yeah, that's draft day. Oh.
Not boy Jason.
That was a great call. I was just thinking holidays at the beginning, but draft day should be a holiday.
The
I have been
opening day of
thinking
draft
about
day?
I either have to take off for the first round or the second and third rounds because I work both those nights, and I don't know which one is better to take off for.
A very active show this morning.
Oh, Adam, I've never leveled with something more on the text line than Adam just now. He nailed it.
So that's the thing. The Wednesday after Cyber Monday, huh?
Well, that pretty much just starts the whole month of hell, basically. Like, it's never good after that again.
Most annoying day of the year, December for you?
Yeah, I mean, as the second Thanksgiving ends is the worst day of the year. Yeah. I take my Thanksgiving nap, and then once I wake up, it's just gonna be terrible until Christmas Day.
Oh, miserable.
So basically, Eeyore can wear like a Christmas hat.
Yeah. It really tests my Christmas spirit every year.
Jan, hate to tell you, but it ain't been America's pastime for a while now. It's been a couple of decades. You can blame steroids.
What was that old-timey clip? 60-58? What? Anybody know what that was? Anybody? It's over now.
Nope. Didn't catch
Anybody
it.
caught it?
No, it's editing.
I'm just wondering what it was.
All right, Jen, let's play some audio. I'll do a quick liner.
Okay.
How about number 5, please?
All right. You're up.
You can make Bill uncomfortable and win a grill in the process. What a great contest we've got going. It's on 1075thegame.com. Grill Bill is the name of it. You can find it on the contest tab there. Should be hopping through the middle of the page. There's a great graphic with some flames and Bill's shiny face there. Ask him anything, put in a couple of questions, and you could be chosen to join us on Mondays here coming up in the next several weeks. If you are chosen, that means you qualify for the grand prize drawing. Camp Chef Pellet Grill goes to the winner, sponsored by the South Carolina Pork Board, its member farmers, IGA Food Stores, and Camp Chef. Wanted to let you hear some Gamecock football sound from Jordan Strong, the outside linebacker from Georgia State. Quite the path to get to the SEC.
I feel like God was really trying to show something in my life, show something that I was missing. And I was able to put all the pieces together last year and be able to do what I did. And it was it's a fun thing to watch. It's a great story. There's a whole lot more to that story. We can be talking here all day about it. But to be here now, man, it's a blessing playing in the SEC, the biggest of the biggest stage against the best talent, against some of the best teams the country has to offer. So, man, it's a blessing.
In leading the country in sacks last year at Georgia State, Jordan Strong. One of the reasons he said he came to South Carolina is because of the nutrition program, putting on a weight he knows is something he needs to do to improve his professional prospects. Patrick, that goes kind of to your point a little bit earlier in the show, having heard several of the Gamecock players speak yesterday, the oversimplified narrative that Will Muschamp created a culture of me first instead of we first, and focused more on getting guys to the NFL instead of playing for the love of the University of South Carolina. It didn't quite jive with some of what you heard yesterday, because Jordan Strong clearly coming to South Carolina to help improve his path to professional football. Also being able to play in the SEC after Georgia State. I thought the most interesting part of his comments yesterday, he was asked about what kind of connection and what kind of effect it had having former Gamecock assistant coach Sean Elliott as his head coach at Georgia State. You got Josh Stepp there, Justin Stepp's brother, the wide receiver coach now at Carolina, and Bryson Allen Williams on the coaching staff at Georgia State as well. What kind of impact that had on his decision to come to the Gamecock football program? And he was very confused by the question and just said none. It sounds like they weren't necessarily, and you would understand it from their perspective, advocating that their best player, guy who leads the country at sacks, move up to South Carolina, a school that I'm guessing they have an interesting relationship with, talking especially about Sean Elliott and Bryson Allen Williams, but mainly Elliott being the interim coach after the Steve Spurrier era there, and an assistant for a year with Will Muschamp. What do you make of the Jordan Strachan comments that you heard yesterday, Bill? And any idea about an expectation level for him, especially after the numbers he put up last year and now jumping up, obviously, in level of competition?
Just another interesting note. Do you know who I believe he played defensive end at that's where he's expected to play at South Carolina. He's going to play on the edge. Do you know who's
called edge?
Who I guess his defensive line coach would have been this year. I don't think he was there last year. No, he was there last year. But he's a former Gamecock, relatively new.
Bryson Williams connection.
Mm-hmm.
No, another one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Travian Robertson. Assistant coach, defensive tackles.
I thought that was going to start your take on him.
No,
right?
I was just glancing very quickly at their coaching staff. I don't see Bryson Allen Williams. He's a grad assistant. As far as Strachan, I don't know, Tim. You know, I guess we should ask Patrick because he's projected as a second-round pick. But Jabril Cox, the linebacker from LSU, obviously having his pro day yesterday. We kind of talked about this a little bit last year when you talk about a guy. We kind of tied it into Jalen Brooks coming. I know it was much smaller school in Tarleton State, or coming from Wingate. I know much smaller. But when you talk about Strachan coming from Georgia State to South Carolina, it is a big step up in competition. And so what is a fair expectation for him? The interesting part with Debo Williams is that he never played a down at Delaware. He's considered a freshman at South Carolina. And so he's still got a lot of time to develop and play, and we can see what he'll end up being. Strachan's it does have at least a college body of work that you can look at and say, okay, I saw what he did at Georgia State, but it's still a step up going from Georgia State to South Carolina. And Patrick, would you say that Cox was the best guy you've seen in your time coming from, where was it, North Dakota State to LSU last year?
Yeah, well, I think he was a multi-year first-team All-American at North Dakota State, and I mean, North Dakota State pumps out pros and wins the national championship every single year. So, I mean, it was a jumping competition, but that's a super talented program, and that's like kind of similar to Strachan. Like, it's not, I don't think, comparable to Jalen Brooks. It was such a steep step up in competition, and he wasn't. I mean, he was a good player, but he wasn't like the most prolific wide receiver in the country or anything like that. And being the nation's sack leader, I think you're going to have a little bit higher of expectations for him. But what is when you say, what did he say he gained 25 pounds?
Right.
From 215. So
right.
We're expecting him to be somewhere.
I think he said 236 is what he weighs right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's decent size. There's just a lot of, I mean, it's going to be a lot when he's been basically a pass rusher for 1 year at this point, and now he's trying to figure out how to play at a different weight. Like, I do think you're going to kind of have to take it slow with him, but that's where you're happy that you've got all these returners, and J.J. Enagbare and Jordan Burch will probably carry most of the snaps at that position. And if he can just be like a third and long, like certain clear pass rushing situations, and he can just worry about that for the time being while he gets comfortable, that would be nice. But I think that is the nice part. He has 2 years. Is that right?
No.
He just has the 1 year. Oof.
Right.
Man, it's going to be hard to – it is going to be hard to jump right to the NFL with this defensive line group that he's got right now. I mean, not going to – like I'm saying, just getting the snaps and getting, like, putting up the numbers when you're going to be playing behind Enagbare, who will be a pro, and then Burch, who is one of the best recruits they've ever gotten. It's going to be tough to get snaps, but I don't know. We'll see.
it's going to be really interesting. To me, Billy, he is different than we were talking about with Jalen Brooks last year, especially knowing how the offense has struggled. That was the reputation that unfortunately Will Muschamp never really got rid of. That passing football and wide receivers thriving under a Will Muschamp coach team, you just didn't see it that much. I know you had Brian Edwards and you had Deebo Samuel, but
and you're gonna have Shy Smith.
Sure, but I'm saying from a jump up from Division II, I feel like the Jalen Brooks, EJ Manuel, Jason Brown, I put those guys in a bit of a different category than Georgia Strong, just because of the numbers put up. And Georgia State did play several big time schools, and it's a little bit different, I feel like, from a complete jump up in divisions where Georgia State had played some solid competition. And Sean Elliott and his familiarity with the SEC, never forget his comment after they beat Tennessee, and having just heard from Strong yesterday, I think he got hurt in that game, and that's part of his journey and his story, walking on in his freshman year, earning the scholarship, coming as a safety, bulking up to play outside linebacker, fighting back from a torn ACL. It's quite a story, man, and will be really interesting to see if he can produce for the Gamecocks defense. Again, time and time again yesterday, I heard it kind of across the board. Zach Pickens, Jabari Ellis also speaking yesterday asked about the new defensive philosophy. And it was, I don't know what the right word is to put on it, but to hear them say that they are going to be given more freedom or allowed to get after the quarterback, kind of how they want to get after the quarterback, is confusing to me. I don't quite understand why that wouldn't have been the case in the past, or maybe it's just a completely different philosophy that Clayton White is putting in there, saying I trust you to go get the quarterback and you do it however you want to, as opposed to maybe it was more specific or more of a system type deal in the past with Will Muschamp and Travaris Robinson.
What did
you get out of that?
I text somebody about that yesterday, because that's the second time I've heard that, and I just I was curious, like what is happening here, and they just the response I got from somebody down there that I know who's been around just said that under Tracy Rocker and John Scott Jr. So those last 2 years, what Muschamp did with the defensive linemen was a lot more read and react. That at the snap of the ball, you were reading. I'm just going off of what I was told. So this is not me analyzing it. So please don't think I'm trying to be some kind of football genius like Big Carrot over there who watches film and is able to break everything down. But I was told it was a lot more read, watch the play develop, and react, as opposed to what Clayton White and Jimmy Lindsey would like to do, which is get upfield and pressure the ball and try and pressure the defensive lineman to draw a double team to free up the linebacker to shoot the gap or to blitz. Now, whether that comes again, how many times have we ever heard a defensive coordinator arrive at a new job and say, well, we'd like to be reactionary and we're going to sit back and play off coverage and we're not going to try and be aggressive. I don't know what we're going to get when they play. And again, all I can repeat is what was told to me, but it was that Muschamp and Travaris Robinson wanted a more read and react defense. And that's what they asked John Scott and Tracy Rocker to have, was guys that at the point of attack didn't necessarily rush the quarterback, but read the play and then reacted to where the ball was going, which I don't know what that means, because I would assume wherever the ball's going is the point of attacking. I'm still a little confused on it. It's just what I was told.
Well, Craig hitting us up on the Facebook live stream, and I think correcting me, I might have slipped and said EJ Manuel like a dummy instead of EJ Jenkins.
I thought you said something wrong. Yeah.
Sounds right. Sounds like I'm just glad I haven't said Marshawn Lynch yet today. I'm sure I'll screw that up at some point. Thanks for the help there, Craig. He also says, sounds like as a D tackle, you are just asked to eat a double team and not rush the passer. I feel like maybe we're getting the oversimplified version right now from these guys, or early returns, just 3 practices in.
Well, hold on.
Because you got to have some of each, right? To be a good defense.
Let's just say this. What Ngbare was at one point the sacks leader in the SEC last year. Like, isn't this a little bit of the defense kind of stunk and they gave up a lot of points and a lot of yards, but JJ Ngbare was Patrick. He would have been a decent mid-round draft pick, and he was. I don't know if he at the end of the season. I don't know if he finished in the lead. I know he finished in the top 3. I feel like somebody or two got past him at the end of the year, but you did have a guy last year who at one point was leading the league in sacks. So to say that, well, we're being more aggressive and going and attacking the quarterback, I don't know if you can say that. I don't know how that translates when you did have a guy who did really well sacking the quarterback.
Well, and again, I think the offense does play a part in this because when you are not scoring points and your defense is always on their heels and they don't have a chance to play with a lead and get the team into passing situations all the time, like they were getting there were games where the whole fourth quarter the other offense didn't throw a pass. It was just, let's kill this clock because this game is over. Mm-hmm. Like that plays into it too. Complementary football is important.
I think a lot of people look at the LSU game though, right? Like, you've got TJ Finley making his first ever start, and it didn't feel like they pressured him at all. It was just, let's sit back and let him again read and react. I mean, that's just how we felt the Monday after. He was 17 of 21 in that game, and you never felt like they made him uncomfortable.
6 sacks is what JJ Enagbare ended the season last year, and surprisingly to me, that's a tie for second in the SEC with 3 other guys. There was one guy that ended up with 7 sacks last year. So really low numbers, but the 10 conference game only schedule, I guess, an explanation for that. We'll try to continue to explain the unexplainable. The TJ Moss news yesterday from the Gamecock basketball program, the third player to enter the portal. Gamecock baseball gets back in action this weekend at Georgia. Obviously, USC women's basketball Final Four matchup with Stanford at the exact same time, so a big weekend on tap from that standpoint. We'll continue to discuss in Major League Baseball opening day today on April Fool's Day. It's the early game. It's 107.5 again. Corey's back.
You said Enagbare was second in the conference?
Yeah.
Can we play the guessing game? Who was first?
I didn't know the dude's name. Sure.
Oh. I was gonna guess Azeez Ojulari.
The guy for Georgia?
Yeah.
He had 5.5, so 6th.
Not Christian Barmore.
Nope, he was tied. He had 6.
Dang.
Getting there.
I don't know then.
Yeah, it was a freshman kid.
A freshman led the SEC in sacks?
Yep.
What?
Alabama guy, Will Anderson Jr.
Will Anderson? Yeah. Where are you seeing that?
On the SEC Sports page, got to go to down on the right, sacks.
Yeah, but I'm seeing that 9 was the total.
Oh, yeah. This is – huh.
Well, does that include bowl games? Doesn't say how many games played.
Yeah, it got games 10 for him for some reason instead of –
Who?
Should have been, right? Maybe missed 3 games.
Who?
Anderson only has 10 games played for him.
Yeah, maybe it didn't start the year. I might include bowl games because Ojulari has 9, and I know that he probably had 3 in the second half of the Cincinnati game. Because if you remember, their left tackle speared a dude out of bounds like an idiot, and they got benched, and Ojulari just ate the backup's lunch for the entire second half. Probably single-handedly won Georgia that game.
So yeah, I'll go on the ESPN stats and see what it's got there. Just do SEC.
That's my edge too, Ojulari.
Yep. So it's a different list on ESPN because I think they factored in bowl games and the SEC one did not.
Oh.
And Ojulari leads it on ESPN. We got 8.5 for him.
His little brother's going to be even better than him too.
Where's his little brother at?
I think he had 3 sacks against South Carolina at LSU.
What's his name?
BJ Ojulari.
That's right, BJ. I didn't know.
He destroyed South Carolina that night. I don't know if it was either 2 or 3.
Yeah. Oh, we talked Carolina football and our guy texted in. How about that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right on cue.
He had 4 sacks on the year and 3 of them.
Nice.
Three of his 4 sacks on the year were against South Carolina.
It feels like a Friday.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder how many people, so we can get a gauge, how many people are off tomorrow? We are not. We will be here unless Tim has not told me anything.
Oh, for Easter?
Good Friday, Easter, yeah. I wonder how many people are off tomorrow. Like my kids are in school, but Amanda, my ex-wife, her district is out. And apparently she's still making them ride the bus to school. It was an interesting conversation last night.
I don't think I've ever been off for Good Friday.
I think some people take it off.
I don't think the university's off. I don't think I've ever been off.
Chavo's off. Raytrick's off.
Yeah, how many people are? See, we gotta think ahead because if both of y'all are off, I'm pretty sure we're not gonna see y'all tomorrow.
No, come on.
They're just gonna wake up at 6 a.m., hold their phone up, and lay there and watch.
No, not that. If you have a smart TV, you put on the YouTube app, and if you're subscribed, it'll be the first thing you see when you put your TV on. You can drink your coffee, watch the live stream, do whatever you got to do around the house.
It's true. It's true. It's a good
Eat your
point.
breakfast. Yeah.
Greg's working. Yeah, I wonder how many people are.
And if you want to start it from the beginning, even if you don't wake up at 6, you just rewind it. You put it on YouTube and just rewind it from the beginning.
Dare to dream. That's how most people, I'm sure, want to do their day off.
We got one adult on this show.
Well, I mean, I'm close to being an adult. I don't know if I'd call me an adult, but thank you.
All right, well, we're about to head back in.
There we go.
About 2 minutes or so.
I don't understand why the Braves game is on ESPN Plus today.
I think we're getting it on YouTube TV. No?
I don't think so. I don't think YouTube TV got Fox Sports.
No, they dumped them from last year. I think they got a new deal with MLB.com or something streaming.
You guys are up.
It's one of the busiest times of the sports calendar for sure with the Final Four, both men's and women's, and Gamecock women tipping it off at 6 o'clock tomorrow against Stanford. You got Masters build-up coming up. We're going to have a Masters Monday, so the national championship game set in just a couple of days on the men's side. You got Gamecock football in the middle of spring practice, and a lot to talk about there with several guys speaking yesterday. Gamecock baseball going against Georgia, looking to continue their run, a 6-game win streak, taking that into account. Today's April Fool's Day, so we got the Sudeth Automotive poll question up and rolling on Twitter. The most annoying day of the year. That has Patrick thinking the other side of things. Your favorite days of the year, and you're taking Jason's advice. It took you how many? It took you 7 attempts to write NFL Draft Day, and then that immediately went to the top and jumped Christmas.
If we're talking about my favorite 3 days, it's draft days, but I can't even decide which one's my favorite. I kind of like day 3. That's where the true draft gurus come to play.
We got to continue the tradition that started yesterday, the grievance board. In this
We can, but I'm just feeling optimistic today. Everyone knows I'm optimistic.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
Hour 3 coming up.
Just we can have the things I'm thankful for board.
Nice.
I would say when does Lent? Tomorrow is the end of Lent, correct?
Well,
No,
Easter's the end of Lent. Yeah.
Sunday.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I'll have donut.
What are
I'll have
you,
donuts for breakfast.
where's the first place you're going to celebrate the end of Lent?
Well, I'll have donuts for breakfast. That will be the plan.
Nice.
I said that what I wanted for dessert was just brownies.
Just brown.
I might be doing the wrestling, the old high school wrestler routine the next few days because I was trying to give up 10 pounds to get on the Sunday. Or you have the spit cup here, just not swallowing at all.
Just put on like 2 or 3 sweatshirts and
Yep. Just hit the road.
Well, I had to do that to make weight for football. I took laxatives the day before. It was not fun.
You had to do that to make weight for football?
Yeah.
He's the big kid.
Well, so we had a weird thing too, where it was. I've talked to people in South Carolina. None of them had ever heard of this. What's called when you're being striped, which means like if the weight for the age group is like 135, the weight to be a ball carrier or be allowed to touch the ball, it would be like 125. So if you were over 125 but under 135, they would put literally the sticker was a yellow sticker that said like wide load and put it on the front of your helmet. And those kids had to play on the offensive line. And like if you were a defensive tackle and you like strip sacked the quarterback on the 1 yard line and you picked up the ball, they'd blow it dead. You couldn't step into the end zone. Like,
I feel like that's body shaming is what you're
Right?
Oh, it totally was. Yeah. I don't know if they still do it.
That was
But it
poor
was
kid.
bad.
I'm
So
curious
I was making weight, but I was striped. So I was like the smallest of the big kids, and I hated. That's why I stopped playing football because I always had to play on the offensive line against kids that were bigger than me and had been playing football and were stronger than me because they lifted weights and I didn't. It was just miserable. I hated football. All I wanted to do was play tight end because I have outstanding hands, but couldn't do it.
ask him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is called overregulation at its finest.
Yeah. It was miserable.
Good, Greg. Pretty good.
Yeah, so I had to just not eat for a couple days, take laxatives the night before. It was bad.
And how old were you? This ninth grade?
6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Brutal.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
No.
It actually reminds me, I need to go to somewhere today and pick up some stuff for Easter baskets for the kids. Needs to be on my list of stuff to do.
All right, let's start that then, Patrick. Let's go best thing to find in the Easter basket list. Easter candy?
Peeps?
Worst by far.
Peeps?
Awful.
Yeah, I don't like Peeps, but I like promoting Peeps. It draws a strong reaction.
I like that's tough, the old Reese's egg-shaped. And then the Cadbury eggs, good stuff, both.
Yeah.
The Cadbury eggs either one of those never eat outside of Easter Sunday, basically.
The Cadbury
Yeah.
cream eggs are unbelievable.
Yeah, fantastic.
I would try to trade the cream eggs with the caramel eggs because we would get some of each, and my sister liked the caramel ones and I liked the cream ones, so we would swap.
Oh, you guys shamed Hope into making a picture? Oh man, Hope, good for you. And yet I feel like you've been bullied on the internet now. You've been cyber bullied into putting your picture up.
Right? Wow.
You guys, unbelievable.
Brutal group.
Looks like a glamour shot.
What would you know about glamour shots?
You're not here as hat
Some of my
conversation.
better outfits. That's what I know about them.
I remember seeing some of the pictures that people took at those places. Then it was like, why?
When I was on Bumble and Tinder, that was always the entertaining one was to come across those. And you're like, yeah, buddy, I bet that's not new.
Yeah, right.
I'm scrolling through. I needed to do a grocery list. I was going to sit here and do that while we were talking. And I'm going back through this little paper I had, and I'm realizing it's got all the topics from like Patrick when you and I did Heath's show, or clearly when Tim was out, and it was close to this time last year. Because I've got like some of the games that some of like the weekend trips that we were talking about trying to take.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna need some of those for next week.
It must have been the old furlough period.
Yeah.
One of them was Texas to play with 50% capacity.
Get your notes app ready and start writing things down this week because it's just you and me all next week. We're gonna need it.
No, we're gonna have a good time. Be easy. We got championship Monday. We got championship Monday. We got Masters. We'll let you go to town with some draft talk.
I guess I'll have to watch the Masters fairly intently.
I just got a text in. Another write-in vote on the poll question. I love it. That's what we'll start with. We'll really tick people off to begin hour number 3.
Oh.
Was it the last one that says
AJ, not Mike.
No, I just see the last text says the word shop.
Oh no, it's not so it came in on the Twitter. The shop is someone that's confused about a little workday payday $25,000 text to win contest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Guys are up.
I admire Jen's restraint there. She didn't go with the national show to start hour number 3. Didn't give anybody a little April Fool's jab. Just did it once. That's fair enough, Jen. A good restraint. That's what a great, seasoned, experienced prankster does. Well done.
And I appreciate you making it seem as though it was a prank and it wasn't just an error on my part. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Twitter at Tim1075, where we've got the Suddeth Automotive poll question up and rolling about most annoying day out there. April Fool's Day is leading the way. AJ's got a write-in vote. May 4th. He says
May the 4th.
Yeah, it's gotten
bad enough that Star Wars even exists, he says, but to have a day dedicated to the franchise is beyond the pale. I speak for all the cool people on this.
I don't know. My birthday's May 3rd. It seems excessive, but I guess I can agree because it's the start of another year for me. That does seem annoying. This year will be the March.
How do we get from May 4th to his birthday?
This because it's the day after Jen. Trying to keep up. This year will be the March toward 40. 39 in a few weeks. march toward 40.
We should have added that in, just birthdays in general.
I like birthdays. It's on a Monday this year. You guys get to celebrate with me on a Monday.
Just the backflips are. I'm working on mine now.
Hope
By the
remind-
way, speaking of backflips, to flip it back to sports, Patrick, were you impressed with Landon? Is it Dickinson or Dickerson, the Alabama offensive? Did you see this the other day? Tim?
Yeah. Matt
Like,
Jones' interview.
That's not physically supposed to happen. If you don't know what we're talking about, he tore his ACL in the offensive lineman. I remember interviewing him when he actually came to South Carolina. It was one of the last interviews I ever did for Big Spur. And I remember talking with him. He was a great kid. He was, I think, a junior going into his junior year. And he took a visit to South Carolina. I remember interviewing him and writing the article for the Big Spur. So I always kind of followed his career, ended up going to Alabama. And
Ended up going to Florida State, actually.
oh, okay, and transferred to Alabama.
Transferred to Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, let's say he eliminated South Carolina quickly, and I didn't have to follow him. But anyway, that physically is not supposed to happen. He tore his ACL in the SEC championship game, and the other day they were interviewing Mac Jones after the Alabama Pro Day, and he's doing backflips or cartwheels in the background. Like, I haven't done a cartwheel in 30 years, and I'm physically sure that I could not do a cartwheel now, that it would end so badly.
I haven't done a cartwheel in 25 years. And I'm 25. So, yeah, I've never even attempted a cartwheel just because I know for a fact that I can't do one. So, yes, it's very impressive. Landon Dickerson's incredible. He's unfortunately had every season of his college career ended short with injuries. Otherwise, he'd probably be a fringe first-round pick. And he'll probably still go day two because he's unbelievable and probably the best interior offensive lineman in the class. But so many injuries. He did give us that nice moment, though. He took the last snap of the national championship game when that was over. That was cool. He just went fully padded and was just, like, roaming the sidelines up and down, like, getting in people's faces. Seems like a great guy to have on your team. Good locker room presence, too.
Wanted to parlay that into the Gamecock football discussion. First, Hope gave us an update to start on the YouTube live stream. 666 subscribers currently on the YouTube channel. Please help us get off that number. We don't have to be stuck on 666. If you can, just search 1075 The Game on YouTube. A page will pop up. If you haven't subscribed, would love to have you. I think Billy joining the fray this morning only after having already watched us a little bit. Patrick called him out on it, and Billy jumped in. And we're good to go from that standpoint. But a bunch of Gamecocks speaking yesterday. And some of them we heard from for the first time, especially transfer guys, a guy like Debo Williams coming down from Delaware. Did you guys – I got the impression that this was very much a team effort, and it was current players vouching for guys they knew were at a position of need for the new coaching staff. Debo Williams plays linebacker. Carolina needed linebackers. He's buddies with Marshawn Lloyd, who they played, I guess, in some all-star games in the state of Delaware and on the same team where, as I heard it explained yesterday, Debo Williams would be the leader of the defense and Marshawn Lloyd would be the leader of the offense, so he comes in. He had, who is it, David Straughter, who's buddies with Kevin Harris, I believe, originally from the same state or the same area, and so they've known each other for a long time as well. So I feel like you had a couple of running backs putting their hands up, says, yeah, I know how we can get some help on defense in that way. Jordan Strawn, the transfer from Georgia State, who led the country in sacks last year, that reputation speaking for itself. And then we heard from Zach Pickens yesterday, a guy heading into his third season at Carolina, first 5-star recruit by Will Muschamp, and he was asked, and we haven't even gotten on this at all. It's awfully serious for our show, but we'll get into it. I think now might be the time to get into it. It's really odd. And Jabari Ellis also asked about this. Several players asked about it because this was maybe just before the players spoke yesterday. Some of the word about the Supreme Court getting into paying NCAA athletes and everything that went down yesterday, and it didn't seem like the NCAA had a great day, or certainly some of the Supreme Court justices were waiting it seems like they were waiting to get into this. So, Jen, I'm hoping we can play Zach Pickens' response because I think it was pretty representative. These players are in an odd spot to answer this honestly and not coming across as entitled, you feel like, because they understand they're in a good position. I thought it was an interesting answer. This is from Zach Pickens. Jabari Ellis had an interesting answer as well. But Zach Pickens asked if college athletes like himself should be paid.
I feel like we should, but at the same time, we kind of like, no. it's actually hard to explain. I mean, I feel like we should get paid, but at the same time, they're already kind of paying for our college in a way. So us getting that on top of paid college is kind of like one add up, I guess, to me.
So I played that for you guys just because in that answer, I feel like you hear the internal struggle that's going on from Zach Pickens. And then Jabari Ellis was asked about it. He said, yes, I think we should. And then he tried to explain it for a minute. And then he just was like, you know what? I'm just going to say yes. And that's pretty much it. Is there a good answer for someone that's in the middle of it? I don't feel like there is because it's such a lightning rod topic from fans who appreciate players, obviously, but I feel like you have a strong opinion about it one way or another. My opinion, Bill, is a lot, I think, of what you heard from some justices yesterday. I put out the word billion. When the word billion starts getting into the fray, like the $1 billion the NCAA makes off the men's basketball tournament, and that's where I'm firmly in the camp of, yes, you got to pay players. It's just too much money involved. And how some of the Supreme Court justices mentioned how high the salaries are for coaches who are also in charge of these amateur programs. I think that's where the hypocritical nature of it gets into. Also, the fact that we're sitting here, largely we do it every day. We talk about college athletics, and we're not volunteering. I would feel hypocritical not vouching for players getting picked. Where are you on this, Bill?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a bunch of thoughts on that. I don't think it's as simple as just like, do they get a salary? I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. I think without turning this in, unless you guys want to, but without turning it into an hour-long conversation, I think putting money in some kind of trust and telling the player that they've got to keep a certain GPA and that they've got to graduate, whether it's from one university or, transferring and graduating from two universities, whatever it may be. I think that there needs to be some rules and limitations there to what they're doing. Also, are we just talking football? Are we talking every sport? Are we talking equal pay for all sports? I don't think it's just black and white in this matter because you're talking about revenue and again, 85 scholarship football players versus say 13 scholarship basketball players for men's. I think correct me if I'm wrong, it's 15 scholarship players in women's basketball. What is it, 11 and a half for baseball? I have no idea for softball or volleyball or anything like that. So my point is, I think it's certainly a conversation that has to be had, but I also feel like a lot of this, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of this is centered on two sports. It's college football and it's men's basketball. And it's kind of like, well, the women, they'll figure it out. They'll be on their own. Baseball, yeah, no, they don't bring in any money, so who cares? Volleyball, track and field. I mean, there's a lot to it. So how do you go about determining? Because you guys know as well as I do, there are going to be those people out there that sit there and go ahead and say, hey, track and field doesn't bring in the revenue that college football does. And that's a very true statement. Well, they don't bring in the revenue that college football does. It's just like the business model in the real world. Hey, if it's the three of us and one of us is the better sales guy, that guy's probably going to make more money than the person who's not bringing in the revenue of the first guy, the top sales guy. So I think it's complicated. You want to have that conversation for an hour? We can knock that out. Sure. I like the hot sauce and
no, you're missing my point. I didn't ask the complicated question of how do you do it. The question was asked, should they be paid? I think that's a very easy yes or no.
Yeah, I said yes, but I said at the same time, there's to just say yes glosses over how it goes about happening.
Yeah, but that's not your job to put together.
Right.
Could be.
It won't
You're
be.
gonna get hired for that. No, but because I think there is a very fundamentalist attitude that Dabo Swinney continues to put out there. Is probably the most vocal about it and most public about it. Kind of, I feel like his face is on that, but a bunch of other college coaches are specifically in that camp, and I think there are fans as well saying that no, this is amateur athletics. They get their scholarship. It should remain that deal. I feel like Steve Spurrier might have been the face of the other side from a coach's standpoint in advocating for guys to get a larger piece of the pie because the pie has gotten so massively large in the last several decades.
Well, the reason it's a yes for football is because, one, there is a lot of physical harm that can come to you, first of all, and that can damage your ability to make money in the future and other parts of your life. Football players have to get surgery, like cleanup surgeries and things like that every offseason. Like, football is a violent game, and they should get paid for that. And also, at this level, you don't have time for another job because even when you're not practicing and doing schoolwork, you have to be in the film room. You have to be lifting because if you're not lifting all the time and getting extra work in, you're putting yourself in harm's way. You can get hurt. And if you're not if you don't have all the plays down, or if you're a quarterback and all, there's so much extra work that goes into that position, and you're not going to get playing time if you don't watch enough film. Like, it fully consumes their entire life. Like, there's no time to do anything else.
But that's the case for pretty much every sport. Didn't lacrosse didn't consume your life?
Well, when I finished practice, I could just rest. I didn't need to sit in the film room all day because there's only so much you can get off of that. Like, lacrosse, you run sets. It's similar to basketball. Like, you can watch what kind of sets they run and things like that, but you don't need to go back and watch every single play to figure out their tendencies on third down and what do they do when they're in goal-to-goal situations and things like that. Like, football is just a far more exhaustive and complicated sport because, one, there's more guys and there's just a lot more that goes into it. You don't need to watch hours and hours and hours and hours of film to be a great basketball player or a great lacrosse player.
I mean, I guess it's for the people that want to say they shouldn't be paid, I guess it's while you do get a paycheck, I guess it's the same as working for a boss who, has built up a company, never shows up to the office, never does anything, just takes home a $1 million salary while you're working for $30,000 or $40,000. And it's the same. The boss has built the company. The boss is the one that runs the company, and you're the one that's in charge of making sure that the boss still makes $1 million. I don't know. It's dependent. I don't have student loans. Somebody hit us up on the text line about student loans. I'm very lucky.
This is Josh.
I'm very lucky. I don't.
Let me give Josh's take in there that you're talking about, Bill. He's just coming from someone still paying back student loans. I don't think they should be paid. They're getting a free education. Many of them wouldn't get into college if they didn't play football. They live like rock stars for 4 years, and many don't even graduate. So sorry, I don't have a lot of sympathy.
Well, I'm paying back a lot of student loans and pretty much got me I'm drowning in them essentially, and I still think they should get paid, and they don't live like rock stars, all of them. The ones
Clinton
you know their
says,
name and the ones you see on TV probably live like rock stars. Some of them.
Clinton says, I would have given anything to be able to go to Carolina, eat, and get all the tutoring and Carolina swag I wanted for free. I get where Josh and Clinton are coming from, but you guys understand too, you get what you earn. And that's the problem I have with the model right now, that these guys have earned their way to being very valuable commodities, and then they don't get paid for it. That's why I like the name, image, and likeness option that the NCAA is being basically forced to get into, because if you're not that valuable, you're not going to make that much money. Very simple. Like you were saying, Bill, I mean, if it's a different sport, it's not revenue generating, and it's not revenue generating. You're not going to generate much revenue. And if it is, it is. And this is what our country is kind of based off of, right? If you want to go into an area in your professional life where the main goal is to make a bunch of money, well, that's what you're going to concentrate in. And if not, if you're going to go into something else, radio, then you're going to do that, and you shouldn't come in complaining about it. That's part of the deal. So, but I think my original question is there a good answer for these guys that in this situation right now, because this is a really odd time. I mean, they could be on the precipice of making money in the next few months. A guy like we just heard from Zach Pickens. Zach Pickens has a big year coming up. You telling me he's not going to cash in on that? You're telling me right now he couldn't cash in on just his 5-star reputation at a high school and being the first 5-star recruit in the Will Muschamp area? He couldn't cash in to some degree right now? I think he could, Bill. You're shaking your head. You don't see anybody out there that would be interested in partnering with Zach Pickens right now
For
in
what?
the area
For what?
making money. You're going no still?
For
That's
what? I mean, would they? I mean, we got people that are listening, and they know how to text, and they know how to tweet, and they know how to hit us on the live stream. I don't think anybody would. Maybe Jordan Birch, maybe because he's still an unknown commodity, and nothing about Zach Pickens. Zach Pickens had a great line yesterday about expectations and being a 5-star guy. And if he's lived up to the expectations, it was a very honest, very good line. I don't know if we have that. If not, I'll find it and read it back verbatim, just so I don't mess it up. But I don't know. I don't. My opinion is no, and I don't think that Pickens has been bad. I don't know. Has he been that good that you make him the face of a company, or could he?
no, I'm not saying not the face of a company. I think that's overhyping thing, as opposed to someone who can help generate revenue in some way. There's a difference.
There's a
Face of
wide
company.
line between having the Zach Pickens line of Under Armour gear and just having him come do an appearance for an hour and sign a couple autographs for $50. Like,
Exactly.
Well, then if
That's
that's
my
the
point.
case, I think that's the case. I think that you're open.
the answer is of course.
I think the door is open to 60, 65, 70 players on the roster. If you're just saying make an appearance, speak at a high school, speak at a function, sign some autographs, take some pictures. I think you'd be. I think on the flip side of that, I think you're opening the door to a lot more players than you realize, because there's companies that would just like to have a South Carolina or Clemson or Alabama or whatever, use whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And
In Columbia, in a Gamecock crazed town, you put any kid in front of a bunch of 10-year-olds, they don't care. They just know
Right.
he's a Gamecock and they look up to him because he's a Gamecock. Like, that's all that matters.
yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
803-404-6100, the number in the program. You can call or text. Let you continue to hear more from Gamecock football from yesterday. Get into the transfer situation with TJ Moss adding his name to the list of men's basketball transfers from South Carolina as we roll on this morning. Patrick's got a list of favorite days of the year to balance out our most annoying days poll question. At Tim Hill 1075, the Sutter Automotive poll question of the day. You're listening to the early game here on 1075.
I thought it was supposed to be cold today. It's hot in here.
Doing it again yesterday. The little guy at my house, he's fired up these days. If he's eating, he's yelling. And if he's not eating, he's running around the house. He's trying to run at almost 1 year old. That means I'm following him around, and typically that means I'm making sure things are out of his way on the floor. And if there's any kind of crumb, he is going to pick it up and put it in his mouth. And so I'm very familiar with my floors these days. Fortunately, we've had some help at our house a couple of times. Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's come out to our house, done a great job cleaning our carpets. They cleaned an area rug for me. They freshened up the tiles in both the bathroom and the kitchen. And the way that Zero Res cleans is especially important at our house because there's no harsh chemicals involved in their powered water system. Also, no leftover soapy residue. That's why my carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can as well. I'm telling you, I was amazed with how they did their cleaning specifically the first time they came out. The second time, I was like, oh, yeah, I know what you guys are doing. You crank up the pH in the water. Sure, I'm very familiar with this. I've watched Breaking Bad before. I know the chemistry. Concludes in that, but you can find out more information at ZeroResColumbia.com. You can also book your appointment today, and they've got a great deal for you. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $119 plus a free hallway. When you mention me, Tim Hill, you can give them a call as well and book an appointment, 803-262-4020. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Yep, Chad, good point. Yep, Zach, good point.
It does not feel. I just walked outside. It does not feel like 27 degrees.
Good morning, Trey.
Took a lot of willpower for me to not just interrupt and tell the person that says, I think he was taking a shot at lacrosse, first of all. That's every sport in college. That's a real sport. And then just is completely wrong. Saying that baseball has 5 a.m. workouts.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
They have 2-a-days year-round, which is just completely false. They're not allowed to do that. But I didn't. Nobody has 2-a-days year-round. It's actually illegal. They're allowed 20 hours a week.
Scott weighed in. I would run promotions with the right player for the right price. Is he talking about batting practice? Your one anonymous texter, add BP when games start?
Yeah, he said they have 5 a.m. workouts plus 2-a-days every single day, and then they have to also add batting practice when the season's going on. Just
Tanya responding to the May 4th. Hate sci-fi. It's so ridiculous having a day dedicated to it. What's even worse is going to movies to watch another movie, of course, during the release of Star Wars and seeing all the adult weirdos dressed in costumes camping out for tickets. Strong. Put them on the board. Trey wants to know the grievances. Agreed, Trey. It's a simple, obvious question, right? That those of us that are so into college athletics don't even step back and think about.
the second to last text that ends in 090. I read it and I was I'm not going again. This one happened to them.
Yeah.
Is it gone?
Wow.
So I was gonna say what is this guy thinking, and then I just read his second last text, and I was like, oh, okay, he's not. All right, we're good.
What an idiot.
I mean,
So probably need to go in by about 41 to get the break in, and then carry.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, just one phone call.
oh, that's the guy. Tim, I scrolled back, and that guy is the one that said, Heath, your overall personality makes me want to puke.
What a gem of a human being.
One of my favorite texts of all time. And then Heath responded, or no, Heath didn't respond. He said something about it on the air, and the guy said, sorry, I'm just having a bad day. he said, no problem. Hope things improve.
Oh, see? Right there. Big heart.
He's definitely the worst texter, probably the worst texter we have.
Wow.
He said, Bill, never mind. Bill remembers him.
That's classic. That's the real, to me, that's the real problem. Right?
Yeah.
And the easiest way that you can just improve so many lives. Just out of the way. It might be my kids running around upstairs, Chris. That might be the drum sound you're hearing.
They're not just banging a drum and walking around.
No, that's the 6 and 8 year old. Sounds like they're doing laps right now. Jen, I want to do a liner and then I want to do number 7, please.
Okay. You're in.
Ten times a day, Monday through Friday. Starting today, going through May 12th, we will reveal a secret keyword, ask you to text in to qualify to win $100, and every winner entered into a drawing for the grand prize jackpot of $25,000. It's why we call it 25K Workday Payday, locally sponsored by Sound and Images. All you got to do is text the hourly keyword 95819. That's every top of the hour. Listen for the keyword 8 a.m. through 5 p.m. Monday through Friday from now. Started just a few minutes ago, 30 minutes ago or so. I believe the word was shop. It accidentally got texted on our text line instead of 95819. Go to 95819. That number will not change through this whole process. The words do change hourly from 8 to 5. Right now, I wanted to let you hear what Jabari Ellis had to say, the, I believe, 5th-year interior defensive lineman who last year said he played at 265 for the season, which was kind of alarming. I think this comment not. I think this is that 265, exactly what Gamecock fans didn't want to hear, but this attitude about coming back and continuing to play for a new coaching staff, I think exactly what Carolina fans do want to hear from Jabari Ellis.
For me, to be honest, it came down. I'm a South Carolinian, so it came by. Of course, I had the decision to leave or go somewhere else or whatever the case may be. But I was like, I want to stay on home soil and fight, turn this thing around.
So I think asked about sticking around and playing for a new coaching staff and referring to guys who have transferred out for sure. Bill, let's start with that 265 comment. That one was jarring to me. I think he was being asked about Tonka Hemingway, and he mentioned him moving inside and what weight he needs to play out, and he went with 280 minimum. That was a big part of the problem, and maybe this gets back to the philosophy that we were talking about. How you were listening to these guys talking yesterday, and how they've been saying, well, they're going to be freed up to rush the passer kind of how they want to, and it's confusing. I think to those of us on the outside, like, how can it be that easy, or why wasn't it like that before? And the answer you got was, well, the philosophy was to have the defensive lineman maybe take on double teams to free up other guys, and you did your assignment more read and react kind of deal. When you're 265 and you're an interior lineman and you're being asked to do that doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, doesn't that help explain the massive struggles defensively?
It would. Why is he 265 is a question. Like, was he sick? Was there an issue that limited him? What happened in the weight room with Paul Jackson? And then it would be, why were you playing him in the middle? Of course, they played Keir Thomas in the middle a lot too, so I don't have an answer for that either. But it's one of those things with Muschamp and I guess Tracy Rocker and maybe Travaris Robinson. It's just, you hear this kind of stuff and you just kind of don't understand what the line of thinking was. But that's exactly something that you question, and again, I think it brings up more questions. And unfortunately, I don't think we'll get the answer. I'd kind of like to know the answer, but you move forward and you hope that Jimmy Lindsey and Shane Beamer and Clayton White don't do the same thing.
It seems like you can guarantee they're not going to do the same thing. It's just, will their style work? I feel like it's the question for me, having listened to a lot of these guys and so many unknowns at the SEC level. From this Carolina coaching staff. Back to the conversation we were having in the last segment about payers being played in the Supreme Court and the whole thing. An interesting comment on the live video stream from several of you, but the one that really stuck with a lot of people, I think, yesterday, Trey hits us up, says the best moment from those hearings yesterday was Clarence Thomas saying, is there an effort to limit compensation for coaches similar to the effort to limit compensation on athletes in the name of amateurism? I mean, why isn't it that commonsensical to us? Do we get too tied into someone hit us up on the text line about Title IX, and Billy, you were talking about the details of revenue generating sports and other athletes. To me, that is the crux of the issue, and how hypocritical that big time college athletics are. The guy that's coaching and not playing can make as much money as he wants, and the actual players can't make a dime. How does that make any kind of sense? I get it. Those of you that, to me, it comes off as a little personally bitter that you didn't have the opportunity to be those guys to make money, and you have student loans and you would have loved to be in their place, and I get that, but you just weren't. And we had one text talking about it be socialism to pay players, and the whole, to me, it's the opposite. It's truly capitalistic to allow people to make what they're worth. And I get it. The details are a mess for sure. But, Bill, I think if you jump to that, then you're kind of missing the point. That there are smart people involved, and it's not going to be a perfect system. But it's not perfect now. And to hear that excuse that, well, the haves, the Alabamas of the world in football, and the program, Ohio State, they're just going to have the monopoly on the really good players. They already do. We know what the college football playoff has been. And to me, I don't see how that could become any more across the board where you have the haves and the have-nots. You would just have players who have more cash in their pockets, certainly legitimately, than they have in the past, and it would be just more above board and more transparent. Probably more regulations, and like with South Carolina hiring the firm to help them through this name, image, likeness thing, you got all that involved. But to me, this comes down to simply what's the right thing to do moving forward. And it's obvious that players deserve some of this massive $1 billion plus pie in college athletics. Is that oversimplifying it in your mind, Bill?
No. I mean, I don't think you're oversimplifying it. We've gone down a path here with the paying players, and again, it's in my opinion, I don't think it's just as simple as paying players. I think we touched on the idea, which is to allow the name, image, likeness, and allow players. It's not about paying players. I don't know if you pay players, but you do allow them to go and be able to profit off of their hard work and whatever they did in high school, their God-given ability to be able to get a college scholarship, to play college ball, to help generate revenue for the university, and to make whatever it is they're worth. If Luke Doty or whoever's starting quarterback, or if it's Trevor Lawrence last year at Clemson, or if it's Justin Fields, and they can go and generate themselves several $1,000s because they're in the hunt for the Heisman, go do it, right? Go do it. But that, if you're the third string offensive lineman and you're fighting for your spot, and maybe all you can get is $20 to go speak for an hour to a business, that's what you're worth. So I'm with you on that, and I think that's how you do it. I don't know if you just randomly give each player $1,000 a month for their effort and time.
Yeah, but I think just for our purposes, just kind of philosophically, do they deserve money or not for their services? But we haven't even talked about social media. Did you guys see this thing that I think Josh Kendall retweeted? I just found it. Josh Kendall retweeted the other day from Kendall Baker. I don't know who it is. It says, if athletes could monetize their NIL rights, the top women's players would have greater earning power than the men. And it has the list of all the South Carolina people and how many followers they have. And number 5 of all college basketball players right now is Zia Cook with 206,000 followers, and they averaged that out to $178,000 that you could earn just off her social media page if she was allowed to monetize her social media page. So like, even if it was just something as simple as that, like you don't need to follow them on Instagram, but you can just let them make money off of it for the people that actually do.
Yeah,
When you have
Trey
that
says
big of a
exactly.
following, like you should be able to monetize it. Anyone else in that position could do it. Like you can't say the average student at South Carolina should be able to do it too, because the average student at South Carolina doesn't have 206,000 followers on Instagram. There's a reason Zach Cook has that many followers. So
Trey says exactly. What's the average influencer get paid?
millions, not the average.
This is where this hurts my brain. Another response is, do we pay the band, cheerleaders, student trainers, etc.? They spend valuable time practicing as well. Question is, where do you draw the line? It's an easy answer. Where people are willing to pay you. I don't understand why that's complicated. No one is forcing anyone to do things here. Where you're forced is that you can't make money where you obviously could on the open market. You open up the market. Hey, if there's a really great cheerleader out there that can sign a deal to be a face of a company or make appearances or whatever, good, do it.
Or have 100,000 Instagram
You know what?
followers and someone can pay them.
I'm interested in that. That's actually something like, is there a rule if a cheerleader wanted to create and I'm serious about this, a TikTok page or a YouTube page that she can't cheer?
Great question.
I'm a band member that hypothetically can play the guitar really well and during the summer go to a bar and get paid. You know, is that a rule?
There's no rule about it from the musician standpoint. I don't know if you could be in the marching band. That would be the dumbest thing of all time, right? If you had a side.
No, but I mean, let's say that. I mean, obviously, I've never seen a marching band with a guitar player out there. But I mean,
that would be amazing, right? If you had the announcement, guys, I got hang it up with the marching band. I got to turn pro.
Does anybody know that? I mean, I am curious. All of a sudden, I am curious about that. Like, what if a cheerleader had a social media page? I don't know if I would actually think that it would be the school saying we don't want that represented representing our university.
Right.
I can see that more than.
Well, the logos could get involved. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, what if you don't use the
sticker wearing the school's gear and trying to monetize the social media page like you're talking about, Patrick?
What if you don't?
A lot to it.
What if you don't use the school? I mean, I don't know with the cheerleaders and with the band. I do think it's interesting. We all know people that can play different instruments. I mean, if there's a person out there in the band that also knows how to play the guitar, and again, hypothetically can go down to 5 points during the summer or to a restaurant. I like going and listening to live music. If you're good at it, you're good at it. I'll come listen, and you know how to play the guitar and sing a little bit. Because you can go to a bar and play on Thursday or Friday or Saturday night and make, $300, $100 an hour. Are you not allowed to be in the university band?
Yeah, I don't think that exists. I know with your own music scholarship, you can certainly get paid to become a professional musician. There's no conflict of interest there with any kind of NCAA stuff. I know we also need to take our final break of the morning. It's the early game. Patrick's got the weird look on his face. Oh, he's teed up with a gas bag when we come back.
I don't know.
Hypotheticals.
I don't know if I'll go on there. It'll probably be for the live stream.
Video stream only.
Are you talking about the text message?
I am talking about a text message.
Are you talking about? Okay. Yep. Same one.
They're in on it. Maybe they can explain it to me in the video stream. Break. It's the early game here on 107.5.
It's actually a couple.
You gonna explain it to the people?
Well, there's actually a couple, but the first one was the guy. I can't do this. I'm echoing. I just can't listen like this. Our guy that's talking about socialism says, do the Amazon employees that get paid $20 an hour deserve some of the billions that Amazon makes? Well, yeah, they're literally getting paid by Amazon with the billions of dollars that Amazon makes. Like, what are you talking about?
They deserve about $20 an hour for it.
First of all, $20 an hour.
I think I had to walk.
Good. I would take that.
With that guy, I had to walk away to make a phone call. But but I could hear you. And I went back. It took me a minute, and I looked at some of his other texts dating back to the summer. That's an interesting person.
Did you hear me say the one that was famous that we talked about saying, Heath, your overall personality makes me sick or whatever?
He told me to shut up, and and at some point he didn't like you either.
Yeah, he doesn't like anybody.
Yeah.
But it was a terrible text. Do the Amazon employees that are getting paid by Amazon deserve some of the Amazon money? Yes. For their job? Yes. They just, what are you talking about?
Are you listening to yourself?
Crazy.
The other question's a legit question.
Which one?
The fans only.
Oh, OnlyFans? Yeah.
Or OnlyFans, whatever. Yeah.
Anybody can make an OnlyFans.
Can anybody? I mean, can any? I mean, not anybody. I know age-wise they can't, but
Can a college athlete make an OnlyFans? I don't know. I'll Google it.
Oh, what a show! What a show! What a show! All right, all of y'all got to get back up at 6 a.m. in the morning to come out for Good Friday, a Good Friday show. I just walked outside a minute ago. It feels really good for it's supposed to. It's if it's going to get warmer today, it's going to be a really nice day. It's a little windy, but
it does not appear that the NCAA has regulations. Actually, if they might consider OnlyFans a social media.
all right. But again, if you're a cheerleader, is that something? I mean, I would think the school again wouldn't want that representation of your name.
Correct.
And it's like,
Boy, you were describing boy Chavo here.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I go listen to music.
But truly, the social media is going to be the biggest difference maker for everyone. That is the future, and people that have there are Twitter famous people that have thousands of followers, for having funny tweets. So if you're that person,
whose little brother is it that's like the multi-millionaire that I want to say it's like Mahomes, or is it Mahomes?
Yeah. He's the worst. He's the worst.
Huh?
He's a TikToker. He's the worst. And he's only famous because of Patrick, though. He wasn't independently good at it. He's awful. He's the worst person in the world.
So one of the neighbors here is a big time fisher. And I walked down to his house the other day, and he was watching a girl. There's two of them and they really are good fishers, but they dress in bikinis and they go out. They're out of Miami. One girl's I think her name is Vicky Starks, and the other is Cami Cakes. The Cami girl owns a charter company in Louisiana, and they're good looking girls. But the Vicky Starks girl's worth $250,000 because of her social media account going out and fishing and making videos just out there fishing. Nothing salacious or anything, but I mean, obviously she's out there in a bikini. The other girl's actually got a charter company out of Louisiana that does really good. She's only 24 years old, but she got her start by basically making YouTube videos and raised enough money to start a charter company.
Yeah. Will Greer's brother was a Vine star. Vine was a sort of short-lived thing before TikTok.
Yeah, and Chavo, that's Lauren Hill. She was with Playboy after Carolina. That was after she left. That wasn't while she was at Carolina.
Oh, it looks like Jen's got a friend.
Carrie Tharp.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Carrie. I need to pull that thing up real quick.
Well, they're nowhere. They got the weekend off.
All right, just a review.
He just likes us that much. We're that much fun.
So true.
He has said that of all the calls he does during the week. We're a favorite.
It's true. No real names are being used. You just got to keep your face
Wait.
out of it. Only fans.
Do Braves fans like by far hate the Mets the most? Like that's their.
All right, heading in.
Is that the deal?
They are the what?
NASCAR gets Easter weekend off, but that doesn't mean Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp is taking it easy for us, joining us at his weekly spot here on Thursdays at the end of hour number 3. Kerry, after we'll get into the dirt race at Bristol here in just a second, but our current conversation has been about paying athletes, and as a former longtime sports information director at the University of South Carolina, where do you weigh in? The Supreme Court having the hearings yesterday. I don't want to get into the minutia of how it could go down, but the simple yes or no, should college athletes get paid? Certainly how it is at the University of South Carolina and others. Former University of South Carolina Sports Information Director, now Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp joining us here. Kerry, let's get right into Bristol and the dirt race. What'd you make of it last week? And Joey Logano taking on the checkered flag. You ended up going with William Byron, a pretty good pick, second best in our picks contest, finishing 6th. And Reggie Anderson over at News 19 WLTX, the most points in our picks contest with the second place finish from Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
That was a good call. That really was.
You got a couple events coming up this year at your track. Do you ever see in the long-term future any dirt racing at Darlington?
That was pretty quick. 5. Amen. Good call.
Love it. Now that's a definitive answer. At Carrie_Thart, where you can follow Carrie on Twitter. Appreciate your time as always, sir. Best part of this segment, no Bill Gasbaggy
That's right.
hot take
Who does-
pick because there's no race
I
this
mean,
weekend.
I'm in the lead. There's nothing to say right now.
15.
The king still reigns.
Thank you, Carrie. That'll do it for our show this morning. Dan Pachter Show coming up next here on 107.5 The Game. All right, that'll do it for us. That was a wide-ranging show.
It was a very wide-ranging thing.
Yes.
Yeah, Tim, you're a Braves fan. Who's your most hated rival in baseball?
Yeah, it's weird with the Braves, right? Probably the Mets.
Yeah.
There, though, as well.
I saw Wes tweet, "Good morning to everyone except Mets fans." I was like, wait a minute, we play the Mets.
Yeah, the Braves don't like the Mets. I think the Nationals are creeping up on them. I felt like it used to be the Phillies, and then
Everybody-
it's become the Mets, and I'm not really sure why.
Well, it's the Nats now because we're the top dogs.
Oh yeah, tell them. You tell them. Get
We-
on.
Wow.
I mean, the Braves are the best team right now, but who won the last World Series?
It's true. Good point.
Pretty sure it was the Dodgers.
Good point.
Not from the East, though.
Well, if you're going by series wins, then the Braves have a lot of rivals. That's not their thing. They're more a division champs. It's all about winning the division in Atlanta.
Well, when's the
Postseason.
last time the Mets or Phillies won a?
Yeah, never. That's why it's weird, right?
When were I don't even remember the Marlins ever being good. I don't think.
It only happens once every 12 years. They just win a World Series and then they go away.
So weird.
All right, live streamers, thanks for joining in today. Great stuff. 679 subscribers, Hope says. Well done to everybody who joined the club.
Okay.
Got us off that nasty number.
Yeah.
Yep, well done. We'll see you guys in the morning.